Hello and welcome to episode 378 of DCP Plus SideQuest. The one where
It's
Bungie fucking
Thursday.
cooked. That came from
Briar
chat.
knew
I'm
the
not gonna lie.
episode name,
Yeah,
and his camera's off.
Briar's
Yeah,
like,
that's
who
right.
is that?
Feeling that.
Who? That's not Briar. There ain't no chance.
It's,
Knows the episode, no cam.
I've been replaced by AI. I think you'll find us in a
That's it, dude.
artificial intelligence superior to no intelligence.
Luckily, the artificial intelligence didn't need a lot of intelligence to replicate Briar, so we're kind
Exactly.
of giving it a layup tonight.
Low bar.
We just wanted to see if it was possible to continue doing the show. If we did actually end up eating Briar, like, could we pull this
Right.
up?
Yeah, how long would it take for people to figure it out?
Oh, nuts. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Like a
Yeah.
ton.
Do we? Seems
Yeah.
like such a slow week in Destiny.
I know. The final shape gameplay, I would say, was that a reveal? Was that a live stream? I don't know what to call that. What
It was
was
a
that
developer gameplay reveal is what they call
Okay.
it.
Developer gameplay reveal. I mean,
It was a Vidoc about final shape stuff.
I think it was more than people expected. Would you say?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
It
people
wasn't for me,
expected
but
that it
it-
was going to continue to be the format it's been the last few weeks, where we were going to
Right.
have them sitting down in the room on the couches and being like, "Hey, let's talk about some cool stuff that's coming." But they're like,
Doing
"Nah,
some
just
public events in the Pale
Yeah,
Heart.
that's right.
Yeah, I actually said last week, I was like, oh, they're going to do like a little E3 style, demo, and they kind of was somewhere in between all that. But it was like super in the weeds of, oh my God, we're doing all this stuff. That's what surprised me. It wasn't like, oh, the final shape's coming. And remember, here's a quick look at the Pale Heart. Like, it's like, boom, this is all going on with your supers and everything.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just out of the loop because I was completely shocked by the content, not necessarily the presentation. Presentation, I expected good presentation. Bungie knows how to bring the hype train. Like they've been shoving coal into that steam engine for 10 years and
Decades.
getting me into that caboose.
Getting your engine revved.
Should we talk about it? I mean, we
Yeah.
got the
Yes.
new subclass.
Yes.
We got
Yes.
the
New
new
enemy race.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting
it
what's the name of this thing?
The Dread is the new race.
Yes, the new Dread. We got
Done that.
the double exotic class items.
item. Yeah.
Yes.
The spirit
Yes.
of exotics.
So the stream started with just gameplay, right? We were watching first person, a guardian doing stuff. And we're like, there's some green on there. There's some blue. There's another bar. It's pink. And I initially thought, like, is this just in like
Development.
super early access look at stuff and they've just thrown, whatever on there. And then they were like, nope, this is a new subclass called Prismatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, which they
Yeah.
went into even more detail today in a
They did.
a post.
Yes.
Yeah, follow-up post, yeah.
So the TLDR of Prismatic is that it allows you to grab a bunch of stuff from all the subclasses and put them together. And the kind of, they talked about the motivation behind it. And they were like, well, we want Guardians to be the ultimate, like, we wield the light and the dark against the witness.
Yeah.
We've gotten to that kind of power.
Show like the mastery over the elements that you've been sort of training yourself to do over the course of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Now solar, now void, now all these things that we've been adding to our repertoire. Now it's like, now we just freaking cut loose. And I love that.
Yeah, I want to put a pin in this, maybe for later, you guys decide, but like I actually expected, not on this stream necessarily, but I expected we'd be getting a new subclass. I think it's been long. Everybody's like, oh, there's got to be another one coming for this one, like they did with Witch Queen. And then seeing what it is, this like, well, it's a new subclass made of old subclasses. And now everybody's talking about as well of like, well, is this like the end of Destiny 2? And they're just like going ham.
Yeah.
So, maybe put a pin in that for later. But like,
I don't
It
want
is
to put
worth
a pin in
noting-
it because I think that's the most
Okay.
interesting conversation we could have all night.
Okay.
You know,
Wait,
wait, can I
empty.
just real quick? Can we just say that it's really funny that the Destiny community is like, oh my god, this is the end of Destiny 2. Destiny 3 is here. When
Yeah.
the very first thing at the beginning of the stream was Luke Smith going, it's not the end of Destiny 2. Kind of rolling his eyes and being like, these fucking idiots.
Right. Yeah, and so fine if you to set that up, but meaning I was
I
hoping
just
for a
think it's
brand
funny.
new subclass, and now it's like this super everything's like mixes of old things, which I'm still very excited about. But
Well, yes
take
and
that
no.
as you will.
We
What does
do
that
also
mean?
get this new. We do also get this new ability where we charge up the light side and we charge up the darkness side. And that
Yeah.
unlocks this new, like a supercharged ability. It's a modified grenade, which is they're new, right?
Yeah, they
Like
are.
a
They are.
like
new.
a
Is it
black hole
modified or is it new?
a black hole singularity that sucks stuff in, freezes it. You know, like that's freaking cool. That's not something that we currently have, right?
No.
Correct. So I
So, yeah.
think that there was never going to be a new subclass.
Huh.
Because
I could have
like
sworn they
they've-
said there wasn't going to be.
they said they very, I think it was Joe, like very outwardly came and said there's not going to be a new subclass. So I would bet that this was something that they made in their kind of overtime that was allowed from delaying to
Think
June.
so?
Well, because they've added like 3 new animations and then like put the grenades when they're actually doing their thing are just different grenades put together. But they only really made 3 new animations for Warlock, Hunter, and Titan. Everything
I
else
think-
like already exists.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I think this probably took way longer than that, but that's just my viewpoint. I think it was more that's what I was setting. I was like, yeah, I think they settled on, instead of making a whole brand new subclass, let's do something cool that's a little more like within reason, while we also have to work on all the episodes and whatever comes after Destiny 2 long into the future, whenever that may be. So,
Yeah.
right or wrong, though, it's interesting.
We'll have to wait for the book.
The
Mhm.
optimist in me says the ease of implementation wasn't like a driving force with this choice. The optimist in me says no, this is really what they were excited about. This was their vision for it. This is the culmination of the final shape where we get to be the avatar finally. We're not just pick what one thing you specialize in. The optimist in me says this wasn't like this is the easiest thing we can do while we manage these other things. I think this is really what they wanted to do.
So, yeah, instead of something completely brand new like Strand, you're like, nah, we want to use what we already have, basically, but mix it together. That was they looked at doing something like Strand and said, nah, that won't be as cool. That's what you think.
That's what I think. I think this is what they really wanted to do.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I mean,
or I should say this. I think that maybe this was what the devs wanted to do. And the devs were finally, when it got to the point where it's like, hey, we're having kind of a bad time at Bungie right now. And they were like, all right, devs, what do you think is going to make the game, the final shape, the thing that it needs to be? And they were like, this. And they just kind of let the devs go crazy and be free finally to do what they want to do without any restrictions of like, well, we can't do that because this is blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it's easy regardless. Just
well,
to
no,
make
a
it
case
clear.
could be made that it's actually considerably more difficult to find a way to balance giving a single guardian access to all that stuff. Like, how do you do that without breaking the game, without
I think
having
it's going to be broken.
interactions that bust stuff? You know what I mean?
By
you could-
limiting it.
You
which we'll
could
talk
argue
about
this
when
was
we-
harder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective for sure. I mean, we're not, none of us have developed something like this, so
No.
we're not the experts on what this took. But I definitely had that sort of thought. I was like, huh, it's just like kind of is going ham.
I mean,
versus
when
like,
you
oh,
mix this with the new double exotic, what I keep forgetting the name of the damn thing.
the class item.
Thank you, class item. It's like you're gonna have so many new options for your subclasses, like, and you're gonna be able to customize your character in ways that like are just like I think way more complex than anything we've had before. And
That's definitely the thing that makes it like extra interesting for
Yeah.
me because it's like, yeah, you've got this prismatic subclass, But what really takes it to the next level is you can be using stasis, solar, and strand, and I can also be using that, but we could be playing it in totally different ways because of that exotic
Yeah.
class item.
Yeah,
Right.
let me read just their short paragraph in their words, what they say. I think it's worth setting up. The prismatic subclass is familiar, but with a twist. Your super, melee, grenade, and aspect spec slots will feature a selection of light and darkness abilities from all 5 damage types. You can also select all available movement modes and class abilities, including the subclass specific ones, such as Phoenix Dive, Acrobat's Dodge, and Thruster. Our main goal for Prismatic is to enable new and interesting build crafting combinations that lead to new types of gameplay so that we can keep the game feeling fresh. As part of this, some of the abilities we've chosen are the ones we think have been underused since their initial release and have exciting interactions with the rest of the roster. In many cases, we've adjusted how certain aspects function to specifically enable these unique interactions. With Prismatic, we want to make an immediate impact. From the very first mission of the final shape, you'll have access to a complete starting Prismatic build with a set of light and darkness abilities, aspects, and a full set of fragments. And then they dive into the deep end of all the different classes and how that works.
This is way more interested in something like, oh, I got to grind for the perfect helmet so I get my grenade 0.2 seconds faster to optimize this build. Like, we are talking about like huge changes into like what grenade I have plus what, how my movement is, like everything.
It's very interesting as well because they have stuff like they give an example on the hunter with stylish executioner, which is an aspect, and they said that now they've changed it to where it triggers by defeating an enemy afflicted by any subclass debuff, whereas before it was void only. So they have done
Interesting.
quite a bit under the hood to make all of the stuff work together. Because obviously, if you had something that's like only activates on a void debuff, it's like, well, what's the point of having that on there? It really super limits you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the TV's point, it could be very hard too, but also you look at it and hearing it in those words, even I'm like, well, it does seem like a missed opportunity if they didn't tackle it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there will be another subclass still in the future, right? And so I like hearing it in those words almost, I was like, yeah, you know what? We kind of miss that opportunity if we don't take it now. So it's interesting from that perspective. Uh,
So there's a little bit about how we're gonna unlock this because I think people got a little concerned about is it gonna be like Lightfall where I'm playing through the
Yeah.
entire campaign trying to get this thing, and they
they,
actually kind of tell us about how we're gonna unlock it. Braden?
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying, did they go beyond saying from the very first mission you'll have access to a set? Did they
Yeah,
say more than
so
that?
in the grid, they tell you what that set is going to be. Like these are the things that you're going to have right at the beginning. So for example, just for Hunter, you've got Marksman's Dodge, High Jump, Gambler's Dodge, Strafe Jump, Acrobat's Dodge, Silence and Squall is your starting super, Triple Jump, Blink. These are all the things you start with, and then you've got Knife Trick, Swarm Grenade, Withering Blade, Dustfield, Winter Shroud, Stylus Executioner. Like these are the things that you're just starting with right out the gate. And then throughout playing the campaign, you're going to unlock more. But that is your starting build that you can pick.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering if they're going to do, which I actually tend to like in these games. I wonder if they were going to give us like a preview of like full setup, just almost sounds like, and then like strip some of that away. And as you play the campaign, you reopen that stuff up. I usually like that as opposed, but because it is also a bunch of stuff we've used, I could also see maybe, you keep it from the get go. But then like, how does it expand beyond this,
Well, because you don't have everything unlocked right away. Like you don't have all the supers available. You don't have
Right,
all of
like
the
Silk Strike and
Yeah. So
yeah.
they're just giving you quite a good amount of options. Like you have 2 starting supers. You have a bunch of different dodges, just looking at the hunt one, and different melees and grenades and stuff. So yeah, they give you quite a little bit to at least start experimenting with builds, which I think is interesting. Instead of just being like, here's the jump you get, here's the super, like here's just a flat build for you to go mess around with. They do actually give you some options to start diddling right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's super important for sure though. To just hop in, have something new and exciting to latch onto in addition to whatever the campaign or opening quests and whatnot will bring.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice also that just the graphical presentation of this was so vibrant and so, I would say, like oversaturated and like totally looks
Yeah.
different than any other version of Destiny I've ever looked at. Like Destiny to me has always had this like almost desaturated look, more in the early Destiny 1 days, I suppose. Like,
Sure, I feel you.
Yeah.
but man, it was striking to look at.
I feel like, yeah, you're thinking about where we came from and seeing, you know, particularly some of the Pale Heart, it seems, which it has lush territory. I think you're right that it stands out. But the game, it has become very vibrant.
It is
I agree
very
with
good
you.
looking game. I mean, they keep updating the game and making it better and better looking.
Yeah.
I think
Especially on PC.
Onslaught shows that off pretty well, actually. It was one of the things that me and my buddies were noticing just the other night farming Onslaught. Was like, look at how colorful it is. All of us sort of like in the waves of combatants, we're throwing down stasis turrets, and then another guy's doing consecration to blow up all the guys that get slowed and frozen. It's just an explosion of color. We're all just really appreciating it.
It's funny because when they were showing the actual gameplay bits when they're just throwing everything, you could see that the Twitch bitrate was struggling a little bit, and I was like, yeah, it's getting to that point where
Please.
we're not gonna be able to see what the hell is going on.
Yeah, man, don't get me started on that. I don't think they've adjusted that yet, right? Have they re-uploaded a better version of that to YouTube? I really hate this.
There is a version on YouTube. It didn't strike me
but
as
it was
bad looking.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's unless it's something different. It's meaning it's just the live stream. Anyway,
we need like
if
the
It was on the.
video up-
I watched it on the PlayStation channel, so I don't know if that would be the live stream feed.
oh, PlayStation.
Just-
Well, we'll have to look around but yeah, I just hate the general like live stream's cool and all, but you should immediately, you know, they could have uploaded like a
Give me the 8K.
4K upres version.
high
Yeah,
res. Yeah.
because like for real, meaning we were very excited about how it looks, and I hate watching compressed footage. But
yeah,
whining aside, it does look exciting despite the compression. I also wanted to throw out, since we were talking about Prismatic, for those just listening or haven't seen it yet, it is interesting. Like you go into your subclass, right? And when you're stacking in your abilities and fragments and aspects, they now have like the symbols for the other classes within there that you'll sort of see as you're putting things together. And that is, you know, if you're wondering, well, wait, how do you put it together? It's still like the familiar setup, but you're mixing and matching from, like I'm looking at the Prismatic Hunter, and they're showing like void and stasis and solar, you know, icons next to everything. So you get a good sense of how you're mixing.
playtesting
It
for
is
this must have been intense because like how do you balance like all the builds that you're going to be able to make with this? At one point, Dave, what's his last name?
Samuels.
Samuels. He's like, there's 25,000.
I love it.
Just kidding.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not true. I'm just the art guy.
But it's like, wow, there's going to be, I don't know, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, and everybody's going to be bringing that into the Crucible, and it's going to be a bloody freaking melee out there.
That's what's really
why
interesting.
they've, you know, they have limited us to what we can pick. So I'm sure it was a nightmare to figure out what that limit should be, because we have so many options now. But yeah, that there is a limit.
They included all of the brand new supers, which I think was probably a no-brainer. So that makes Well of Radiance is out, Dawnblade is out.
I'm hoping it will be like, hey, guys, no, I already know this isn't going to happen, but I'm hoping it'll be like, hey, guys, don't you want to not play Bubble for the 7th year in a row? They're like, no, I don't.
No,
I want
me
to play
Bubble.
this with an SMG forever.
Yeah, like I was just gonna say, from a PvE side, I'm super excited. I don't care, you know, how much it breaks, you know, as long as the game itself doesn't break.
Yeah,
But
from the PvE side, break it more.
From the PvP side, I mean, Watson TV, are you concerned, you know, or do you think, looking at it, you're like, eh?
No, I'm not concerned, honestly. I'm looking at this stuff, and it's like jack of all trades, master of none in PvP. Is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I think it'll be fun to play around with these combinations in PvP, but we've already got reduced uptime on our abilities, you know, which is gonna limit us a little bit in terms of using these crazy combinations. I don't think this is going to be as game breaking as a lot of people's knee-jerk reactions were in the PvP sphere. I think most of these look like they are kind of designed for PvE chaos, if anything.
I'm gonna be blinking with grapple for sure.
Yeah, that
Definitely.
sounds
That's
fun.
gonna be fun. And then they also included the new aspects in here that are coming with the final shape. So we are getting new aspects, not whole new everything. But the hunter one is the little twirly stick. Like you jump in there, you do a little twirly stick thing in there, and that is in there. So having like blink, grapple with that just sounds like it's gonna be. It's essentially I'm gonna press like 7 buttons to kill you when you could just like press 1 button, but it's gonna look cool.
You do all that, you're like, blink, grapple, helicopter, and then they just shotgun you in the face. Like,
No.
okay. It's like the Indiana Jones thing.
That's exactly what's gonna happen. It's gonna be great.
We finally got a new enemy.
That
We do
is
have
what
a
I'm
new
most excited
one.
about. Mm.
It's funny because I was kind of talking about this with people, and we were like, well, so we knew that we were getting 2 more, which was the stasis guy and the strand guy. We knew we were getting those 2. We didn't know about the bats with guns.
No.
We didn't know about the one that Holtzman worked on a lot, which is like the
Oh.
double knife assassin
the
ninja
husk,
kind of
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, the husk.
That sounds like Holtzman.
Yeah, that's the one that if you don't kill it right, the seeker comes out. Is that one?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's the
yes,
husk.
yep, that is the
That everyone's
husk, yeah.
afraid of.
Which is
Yeah.
like,
apparently.
if it's called a husk, is that sort of like the thing that's inside of it that's the actual being, and it's like manipulating the body, and if you don't kill it the right way, then that thing comes out of its husk
Yep.
and seeks you. So
Apparently.
kind of the vibe.
And then
Mhm.
there were 2 more, which are scions, fancy scions, which they are scions, but they have like they've got pyramid looks on them.
Yeah.
But they are fancy scions. But one grabs you and one kind of freezes you. So strand and stasis.
Yep.
So
Well,
there's like
aren't they the ones
2
that do the rubber band effect?
Yeah, the rubber band. Yep.
Which was kind of cool. Like, I didn't understand what was happening in the gameplay until they explained it. I was like, why is he flying around like that? But the
I was
way
like,
they
that's
explained,
not
like,
gonna
it
be annoying.
snaps you. Yeah, like pulling you into a mob of. But then you're thinking, like, that could be really cool to play with if they pull you in and then you're coming in
Yeah.
and you start doing a thunderclap as you're flying. Like, all right, if you want
That's
it.
true. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that could be cool.
I just had flashbacks of the first raid that we had in Destiny 2 when you're in the nightmare realm and Callous Shadow is sucking you and there's scions booping you over the things that stop you
Oh,
from getting
yeah.
sucked. And I was like,
Those
oh
bastards.
no, what are these
Yeah.
scions gonna do to me in the raid? They're gonna pull me off of a jumping
They're
puzzle.
gonna what?
Yeah.
Family
Yeah.
show, Watts. Family show.
Chad mentions that the bats suppress too, so there's gonna be.
They do. They scream.
You can imagine
Yeah.
them in like a jumping puzzle.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you
I know.
need
Probably.
that double jump to get to that next level, and you just fall because you got suppressed halfway through.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, that's seeing the Grim there, those bats, the gun bats as they joked about, was the one that excited me the most because it just harkened back to like RPGs that the very first thing I've ever played from an
Yeah.
RPG for gaming was like, Dragon Warrior at the time and Final Fantasy, and like the idea of like a bat floating over in the distance. Like that's, to me, the image I get, which I think is really cool to now have in Destiny. I've been joking that it's kind of gone full RPG when you kind of look at it, of like, it's so explosive now. It's got the RPG bats. It's got all these other things going on. And so I love seeing with a new faction here, the Dread, that it has that image, even though we've seen, to Watt's point, we've kind of seen the Tormentors and there's some extension of that here, but I can't wait to see hopefully a new Strike. And you're like, oh man, it's like all the Dread.
And let's be
that
honest,
is-
they're
jeez.
sexy, right? They're hot.
They're sexy.
They're sexy. You know they are.
Mm.
They are. There was one that came on the screen and I was like, okay, well, who is that?
They're
Because that
rocking
one's clearly the most attractive.
Le Tigre.
Rolk,
You're right.
Rolk was already sexy. All right. We all knew Rolk was sexy.
It's a good
Yeah,
point.
The guy's got drip, swagger, all of it.
Yeah. They seem to be into a lot of leather. It seems to be that vibe. Hooks and
Don't
leather.
kink
I don't
shame.
know about
Wet
that.
whips. And,
Yeah.
Screaming
Yeah.
whips.
Yeah, they got spikes and it's pretty kinky. All
Mm.
right.
I don't know. Like Destiny has sorely needed a new like enemy group, right?
I thought you were gonna say
Yeah.
a kinky class of
Kinky
enemies.
group.
we
'cause
really
I-
just need.
They really needed to sex up Destiny since Amanda Holiday
Agreed.
did it.
for real. But yeah, I mean, I'm so excited to see that in action. You know, we saw them fighting them, but like, how does that really play out? Because again, when I started watching the Final Shape gameplay preview, I was like, oh man, this looks crazy. Like they're mixing everything, but like fighting Taken, fighting Cabal. You know, like we've been doing that for so long.
For so
Even though
long.
we have got some newer stuff like Tormentors. We got a preview of this, so I just want to see like whether it's a lot of these enemies in one strike or just it's only that, or maybe throughout the Pale Heart. That's mostly what you see. Like that's just gonna be
Yeah,
really
they look
nice.
so cool. They
Yeah.
look so damn cool.
I
Because-
always
it's a
kind of
cool
like the
group of-
Scorn where they just start popping
Nice.
up all over the place. You know, you just
Yeah.
they
Scorn
just
is
start
cool.
moving them around a little bit.
You know, you take for granted that when you're peripheral as you play through Destiny now, like it's so familiar. You know how to deal with everything you see out of the corner of your eye. And so I want to be in a new location that I'm like, oh, I have no idea how to fight the husk yet, you know. And so that unsettling nature, kind of like we got with the Tormentors.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely felt
yeah.
that in like, the early campaigns where we saw them and you just hear that sound, like the screeching sound of a tormentor coming in. You're like, oh God, what is that? And they're just beelining towards you and
Yeah, well-
grabbing you.
And they're still intimidating to
Chaining
me
you
in
to them.
Onslaught. Like
Yeah,
you're
they
playing
are,
Legend
yeah.
Onslaught, you hear that noise, you're like, ah, mother frick.
I was like,
It's
okay,
like, I don't have precision. I don't have any
know.
precision stuff on. What do you
I
have?
I brought in Sleeper because of that. I was like, I don't know, I'll bring Sleeper. I'll shoot him in the shoulders and chest or something. Because that guy just stood on the ADU and
ADU, yeah.
messed it up real fast.
And the freaking Briggs, man. I swear.
they're
I
massive.
hate the Briggs.
Why are they so big?
I don't know.
Those they got
I
bigger.
feel like they're compensating a little bit. Don't you get that vibe? Like, okay, bro. Calm it down a little bit.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Final Shape.
So-
Very cool. Highly recommend if you haven't yet, go and take a look at the little grids that they've put out for each class to see what you can get excited about mixing and matching. Because I've seen a few people being like, before we knew this, that they wanted Phoenix Dive and Icarus Dash and Blink, and they wanted like all of the child soul buddies. They just wanted all of them at the same time. We're not going to be able to do that kind of
Yep.
stuff. So check it out and
Yeah.
see what you can do.
And a correction on what I was saying earlier, because like I just was running around today. I hadn't read this part yet. But they say, yeah, you do start with this, focused initial loadout of things to choose from, but you'll quickly expand your tool set and possible combinations as you continue through the Pale Heart of the Traveler, and then you uncover the remaining abilities, aspects, fragments as mission rewards, as well as unlocking them through post-campaign quests as collectibles in the world. So it's not only are you going to be unlocking them there, you're going to have to chase them after to fully unlock, I guess, because obviously there's plenty of that. But they say there's even no currency to unlock these new build crafting elements. So you'll find like a prismatic chest in the world, or after a particularly tough battle, they're immediately granted and available to use. And what
That's
they
great.
wanted you doing was like, as you're getting it, to be like mixing it up as you go, basically, to try to encourage you to tune things as you unlock these things.
I really like that because that's one thing that I really like the ARPGs do is when you're initially playing through like the campaign of an ARPG, you're getting all of these drops and you're kind of making builds as you go, and your build varies greatly from when you first start playing to where you kind of end up as. And that's just really fun to create something on the fly and you're like, wait a second, this kind of works. And then you're going to start learning more about Prismatic as you play around with this stuff. You're like, oh wait, this actually works really well together. I want to keep that, but I'm not happy with this. And that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and another detail that's important in this, if you're thinking, well, some of these aspects, like you have to be a particular damage type to like make this work. Like I love stylish execution, right? But that's like a void triggered thing, and they're like, no, we've loosened that stuff up, so you defeat any afflicted enemy of any elemental debuff, and it will work. So they've changed some of these to do that. I don't know if that is going to be that way in just Prismatic, if they clarified that, or if you now use them in other classes. Probably just within Prismatic, but yeah,
And
it's gonna be
another
wild.
important note is that, like, if you go through the campaign on your Warlock, you're gonna have, and you want to do it again on your Titan, you're gonna have everything on your Titan for all of it. You don't have to unlock it again.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I will tell folks because some people were asking about the like using different kinds of buddies on your warlock. Just remember, because you do have exotics that have unique interactions, such
You
as
do.
Getaway Artist, which does not require. You can basically override that. You can use an Arc Soul without having that aspect equipped. So
Is Arc Soul the only one that allows you to get a buddy with an exotic and not a subclass?
I think it might be.
But I love Arc Buddy. I love Arc Buddy.
Like
He's
you get the
great.
charged up arch buddy. Did they go over what the Helion aspect is?
That's one
Have
of
they
the new
have they shown
ones
that at all?
coming. Yeah, that would have been a while ago. It's probably in a trailer of like Final
Yeah.
Shape new aspects.
Oh, it is in the tree there. You're right, but I don't know if they said anything beyond that.
don't know if
New
they-
Song of Flame. That's a new Warlock Super. I
New
think this goes
super.
over the aspect though. I put it in chat. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. This is like. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's got Helion in here.
Cool.
All right, so I know
That's
we're
a
all
solar
like
buddy.
super
Yeah, that's a
excited
solar
for.
buddy.
I know we're all super excited for Final Shape, but like watching this presentation, I'm just like, first of all, I was like, oh my God, I've answered so many Twitter questions wrong because of what they've done here. But also, like, what are they gonna do after this, right? Because they're just like expanding the power of your warlock and the customability of your guardian and the customizability of your guardian so much for the final shape. Like, where do they go after the final shape? Because like a regular subclass doesn't seem like it's gonna feel like that special again, right? Because you're not gonna be able to like combine all these different subclasses, and also this, like pulling in exotics from other subclasses to work on your hunter or your warlock or whatever. Like that's just such an interesting like promise. Like, where do you go after this?
that's an interesting take, but you also have to challenge that with the idea that based on what you're saying, that would mean that there's no reason to even use the other subclasses anymore, right? And like I definitely am concerned about what it means of like, yeah, like am I even going to use any of those old subclasses and why? I'm sure for PvP actually,
Yeah,
I
I'm
wouldn't
sure
be
we're still
surprised.
gonna use the old subclasses.
And it's not everything, right? So but to that point, I absolutely, if they had the time and energy and to make a new subclass, I would love to see it. Strand brought me so much joy. I was
Yeah.
surprised that
I
right?
like
It
haven't
just
switched since.
yeah. So I mean, I
Strand
think
forever.
subclasses are a great way to bring joy to the game. I don't see why they couldn't, other than the investment of doing it. And that to me was the question of like, when you look at it though, you're like, are they going to do that or save that for whatever is years and years in the future, probably?
And then of course the question every YouTube thumbnail yesterday was, does this mean Destiny's 3 is coming? Every YouTube thumbnail.
That is
I understand that chain of thought for sure, because it certainly feels like Bungie's just going, screw it, go crazy.
Yeah.
And we're not worried about trying to keep everything in check. So I do get that. Yeah, I do get that. With Luke did say at the beginning also that I don't think we'll know about Destiny 3 if it's a thing at any point soon, but he did say that when we get towards Final Shape, that's when we're going to find out about what's after Final Shape. So at least we have an idea of when we're going to be told about that stuff.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. I mean, I would say settle in for whether or not they're working on, there's now been like some seemingly credible Destiny 2 leaks that we're talking about Prismatic in detail before that are now saying, well, they had this project that is Destiny 3 under a code name that they're working on. But what I would say to that is like, you should buckle up for like, there's whether it's going to be a lot of episodes and another Destiny 2 expansion, I don't see a world where you would see a Destiny 3 like in 2026, personally. I think you're
Right.
looking at least 3 years from now, at
So
least.
you're saying there's a
if
chance.
that exists. Yeah. I mean, I think we're 10 years in. Also, Bungie now has arrived at that point where they said, wait, we said we were doing 10 years of Destiny 2. I mean, granted, that was a much different plan then, but
Yeah.
they did deliver on that plan. And so
That was 2 whole corporations ago.
it was, but it was the same leaders of Bungie, which, when you look at the history, I don't think it's unusual at all, right? 10 years after, Marathon is coming around the bend, and they're trying to be a multi-IP studio. We know there's other stuff, but like, I think, as much as they say, look, we're not doing Destiny 3, they've sort of said that, but that was years and years ago of like trying to get in your brain, like, stop thinking that next year is going to be a sequel.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it'll be more episodes. I think they could easily do another expansion. I would like
They
to
still
see
got
them
this
take their time
chapter
with
thing
that.
that they were talking about like a year or 2 ago.
This what?
The chapter system, or they were talking about
episodes.
Episodes?
Was it episodes? That's right.
And that is happening. That is what is next, to be clear, right?
Yeah.
It's a completely different seasonal model now called episodes, which they have like some weekly sort of rollout of the way the story and other things are changing, and it's 3 per year as opposed to like 4 seasons. And we don't know about that yet.
Don't
it's gonna be
know.
interesting.
Yeah, we don't really know much about it.
I mean, do you guys think? I think, there's another Destiny, next generation Destiny out there somewhere. I don't see why they wouldn't do that. Like, why walk away? They're not selling it off to Microsoft like Halo. So I think, but many
It
years.
could
Whether
even be a
it's
thing of like just doing a big blow up of Destiny 2 and starting fresh with Destiny
Mhm.
2. Like we've had games that have done that before where they're just like,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
making this totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I expect it to be. I mean, we've been saying for a while at the end of the Light and Dark saga, we want them to kind of go elsewhere in the universe and experience new places and new stuff. And it will I'm hoping that it will kind of set them free to create different types of environments and different kind of feelings to stuff. So I hope that's what happens eventually, even if that's, a couple years down the road.
Yeah, like to be more clear, I could see like next generation console launches are coming out, 2028. Like that's a time for Destiny 3 in my mind. How
so
they
far away, Fran.
It's 4 years, but
Well, it's
But
not
we're-
happening anytime soon.
it also begs the question of like, you can see them like, man, they seem like it's been exhausting them to keep up with all this, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Episode model. And for the first time, which we've talked about a few times now, they have not said what's happening next year well ahead of time. They're just like,
Yeah.
you know what? Final shape. Let's focus on that. And then there's 3 episodes. They've had a lot of stuff going on at Bungie. And then like, we know Marathon's probably next year too. So I see a world more where like episodes stretch, special events like Onslaught, and hopefully keep people happy enough. And then, I could easily see 2026 getting a bigger drop for an expansion as opposed to maybe mid 2025 and let Marathon have a little space in there. But
That's interesting.
Mm.
That won't make Destiny players very happy.
I know that, but what do you think? That their only other option is 3 episodes, and then next February or June, I should say, you'll
But
get a new expansion.
yeah, but they got to be sales driven too in 2025. Do you think
Yeah.
they can
Sales,
afford?
baby.
Do you think the episodes are going to pull in enough
The
revenue?
expansions are really that's like their big money maker, right? Is the expansions.
Well, it's
That's
the
their time to
engagement
capture
from them,
new
right?
people as well.
Yeah. I was going to say, it must be the engagement from the expansions, or they wouldn't constantly try to make you play Destiny for hundreds of hours for all year, right? They would just do expansions and not worry about all the seasons, right? But I think you're right with what you said, which is it brings in this new revival. Every year they need basically you get a new blood transfusion every year, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Feels-
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like now we see that the conversation around Destiny and Bungie has been very negative for a long time. But now when I look at Twitter after the final shape reveal, you've got people who are like, I think I'm going to be hopping back into Destiny tomorrow and playing this Onslaught and getting ready for final shape. And that's what it does.
But you slap a 3 on the end of that bitch, and you got that new, like, rich
Oh,
guy baby
Oh,
blood.
definitely.
You just
'Cause I
sucking it
also
in,
heard-
getting younger.
I've heard plenty of people be like, I can't, I don't feel like it's an accessible game for me to jump in right now with Destiny 2. If they did a Destiny 3 when I'm starting at the same level as everyone else and it's all brand new to everyone, then I would jump in.
Have you guys watched Jez's video where he got his
No.
girlfriend or his wife? I'm not actually sure if it was girlfriend or wife.
Wife.
Yeah.
Wife to
My wife.
not being a game player like basically at all. I guess she plays a little bit of Switch games to jump into Destiny, and he basically like wrote down her reactions for 11 days, and it was kind of eye opening to like, oh yeah, like this is like impenetrable to somebody new coming in. I mean, they could use a good entry point.
Well, we know that they are letting you skip the new light experience. We talked about that. They didn't say much about what that means in detail. I took that as it allows you to, as we're seeing, jump straight into the final shape, be max light with just like us, 1810, right?
Yeah.
And then get your prismatic powers and kind of like, I wonder if they like set you up, in other words, with like, is it preloaded or do you actually have to go in and like plug them in? But regardless, like it will give new players like, oh, I'm going to hop in and just have fun and learn as I play the campaign. Hopefully. That's how I took that. And I always say this, like, I really hope it is not filled with the engagement farming, like, go back to the tower, go talk to Eris on the moon. Like, let me stay in this experience for if it's only 5 hours, fine. I'd rather do that than spend 8 hours going all over. And I think it very much confuses new players.
Yeah.
To do that. That's why Anthem was a disaster. It was like 2 games.
Hey,
it always
watch your
tries
mouth.
to drag you. Hey, man, I like Anthem, but it always tried to drag you around. I mean, I don't know if you guys like that, though, but like, please don't bring me to the Hall of Champions for the final shape. There's no reason.
I do not personally enjoy going to social spaces basically ever. I literally like I have my chat is constantly like, you need to go back and reset your valor. I'm like, why?
Oh, they just say that all the time.
Why?
No one who plays often needs to go and reset their valor.
Like, go clean out your postmaster. Why? I can see it on Dim. There's nothing in there I need.
Yep, I grab the stuff I want from Dim.
They want you to see other players in a social environment, which is interesting because when I look at that, the first thing that comes to mind is because like you want to see them doing an emote or have a cool skin to buy. I mean, that's probably one of the driving motivations.
You know what would do it, Fran?
I don't mind a social space.
Do you know what would get me in a social space often? If it was like Monster Hunter, right? Where I go, I defeat something, and then I want to go back to the main area to go and see what the armor looks like. What does the weapon look like that I can craft? And then I'm like, oh, this looks so cool.
Can I hang its carcass in my apartment?
Yeah, if I had an apartment there, I'd go there and go, oh, have I unlocked the new dead animal head that I could put on my wall? I'm like, oh, I need to defeat 2 more heads. Cool, I'm going to go defeat 2 more, cut off 2 more heads and bring them back.
I want my Cabal head boots.
Yeah, you know what? I think we're hitting on it this episode. What we need is a social space we go back to, and there's like a catwalk, actually. And you just like pose and everybody's watching like, you know, you're at like the model show.
Bring out your inner Helmut Kruger.
How good would that be?
That would be amazing.
That's what Watts needs. And then we can bring out these new like little, hopefully we get some of these kinky little dread outfits.
They can bring back the jukebox and you pick your song to walk to.
You're going to have a whole new kind of dungeon in Destiny 2.
Oh my.
How do you walk in a room and there's like Rulks or Rulk-esque enemies just whipping stuff? And you turn around and look at you.
I thought you were going to say whipping out for a second. Wow. Okay. You know, and I just
like
a
maturity.
It's a really good idea. It's a really good idea because anytime I've ran like a fashion show on stream, I'm like, yeah, we could do this in like probably 2 hours. It's like 6 hours of people wanting to come in and show off their outfit. People love it. It's great.
Yeah.
So
great. And then what they should do is I'm going broad with this. And then they're piping it into the planets on like big screens. Like obviously it'd work well on Niamuna, and you actually see the fashion show happening like on these big
Chris
screens
Tucker
with,
to
like,
announce it.
Yeah,
like
exactly. This is so good. And to tie all this together, because I was thinking about my pitch for the next Destiny expansion, let's say it's next year to buy time, is actually take like Starfield and you can build like ships and apartments, and but they're like big now, and you spend all your time like collecting all that stuff and building out your apartments, which now you can hang your Cabal heads on, which Watts is into.
I want to do that. Well, it's just because in No Rest for the Wicked, which comes out next Thursday, you're going to be able to buy a house and you're going to be able to craft everything that goes in your house. And it's just, I don't know why that's so enjoyable, but I really
love doing
like
that
the
stuff.
idea of making my own space and crafting it and creating it the way I
Oh,
want.
definitely.
It's great.
I do have to wonder though, would it be in poor taste now that we have Cabal stationed at the tower to be like hanging
And also
Cabal heads?
Elixir,
Like
They're the
Elixir,
bad
like,
cabal.
Yeah,
They're
because
not
what's her
like
name?
you.
like how would you feel? How would you feel if the Cabal sitting there next to the gunsmith is like putting human heads above his?
I did walk into the what's the place called? The Moments of Triumph Heroes
Hall of Champions, yeah.
I walked in there and I see the Elixir like working on stuff, and I'm like, now they're just working for us.
We kind of like, yeah, that was like the
minimum
next
wage.
It's
step.
getting dark.
How well
are
are
they
they
being
compensated?
treated?
Do they get benefits?
Yeah,
I've seen their living quarters. It's not
true.
that great.
They're technically
Bare minimum.
contractors, so we don't have to pay
Yeah.
benefits.
Exactly. There's no increased headcount on the tower company lines.
Having worked 35 hours a week. It's just it's not quite full time.
Yeah, they're gig
just
workers.
under,
You know,
so they don't get Guardian insurance. Oh man,
Because you do that, next thing they're gonna come asking they want their own ghost next. You know, like where do you draw the line?
they're gonna unionize.
They're gonna want health insurance,
collective bargaining.
maybe Pizza Tuesdays. You know,
Oh,
you might
I
start
want a
one of that.
livable wage. I want to be able to feed
That's
my
how
children.
Elixir sound.
wow, we got a lot to learn. They
Anyway.
said, you know, they did make it clear that this was only a little bit of, you know, preview, and there's definitely more to come before the final shape.
Yeah,
We still haven't seen like
Prismatic looks cool.
usually they'll do exotic showcases too before a big DLCs.
yes.
That always gets me really hyped. What
Yeah.
new crazy guns am I about to use?
I'm gonna be real pissed if I can't use that exotic on my prismatic thing, though. It better have some build-in with all of the classes. Because I hate it when, what was it, Blight Ranger came out, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this? I can't do anything with it.
Why would I
Always
resist
makes this makes me sad. So I hope. I mean, it wouldn't be too. I mean, I don't mean this in a how difficult can this possibly be way, but I would assume it wouldn't be too difficult to have it tie into one of the abilities that's going on with Prismatic for each class. You know, you got a lot there, so hopefully it does something.
Yeah, in their word. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going on that a tangent.
Oh, I was just reinforcing. They said we have a lot more to share, so they don't mince words. They say a lot more.
Well, I was just looking at Transcendence, which is the part of the Prismatic class where when you build up the bars, you get this, you know, super transcendent thingy. And like there are spots for that in your build. Like when you look at the subclass, it's got like things that you could select, which makes me wonder, like maybe they could add like different Transcendence grenades or different Transcendence effects. Because it is like a selectable thing that's there.
Yeah, I bet they could. I mean, I would be surprised if they didn't allow themselves room to add new things, just like they did with Strand and Stasis. Added new aspects and stuff like that in later.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, Prismatic looks very cool. Very excited about having that exotic that has multiple exotics. I'm thinking, can I get Dragon Shadow plus 6 Coyote? Because that'd be fun.
What about Athras and Assassin's Cowl?
Yeah, well, that would be great. That would be very fun.
Should we read these three, their nades? Do you want to actually spell out what they're going to be?
Yeah.
On the topic?
The special Transcendence grenades?
Yeah.
Hit us.
So Hunter gets the Hailfire Spike. You throw a device charged with stasis matter and solar energy that attaches to surfaces or targets and then erupts into a slowing storm. After short duration, the device ignites, creating a deadly scorching cyclone. So it's kind of got it's like a two-phase trip mine or something like that with those two. Titan gets the electrified snare. Throw an explosive device energized with strand matter and arc energy that detonates in a supercharged suspending burst. The suspended target takes heavy damage over time and chains jolting lightning to any nearby targets.
That would look pretty
Sounds
good.
great.
And then lastly, the Warlock freezing singularity. Throw a mass of void energy and stasis matter. On impact, it deploys a miniature black hole orbited by a halo of slowing ice. And we saw that, I believe, I think we saw all these. After a short duration, the black hole implodes, suppressing and dealing heavy damage to all nearby targets. Yeah, I mean, they sound cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Sounds very cool.
Should we move to Into the Light?
Yeah,
think
this
so.
week.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Yep. Things that you can play right now.
Into the Light came out, right?
Yeah.
Right away, you
Onslaught
can level up your Guardian to 1810. There's like a treasure chest with
There
was
is
it
Gift
two
of the
exotics
Thunder
in
God.
there.
Yep, 2 exotics and armor to get you ready for 1810. So
Yeah,
this really is like, if you are at all interested in playing the final shape, playing right now is so good because it's all free. You have an activity that you can get a bunch of good weapons from. You have a thing that just gets you to 1810, which is the max that we can all be right now. So there you go. Play now.
And it
is
is a
everything
roadmap
Into
too.
the Light
Like,
free?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
I didn't
except
realize
for
that.
anything in the Eververse, Brian.
And what
But
I
they
like
didn't
about
add
that,
anything new to the Eververse. There's nothing new in
Not
there.
yet. Oh,
Not
it's
yet.
coming. Come
one
on
of the
now.
things, one of the, I think the biggest deals about it being free to play is that all these weapons are like they're kind of banging.
Like
Like
the
you
They
shiny-
are
can get
banging.
you can get straight to like Edge Transit's no joke now. Like that's a really good heavy GL. So if you're a new player, you can get access to some really powerful stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is an important reminder that like Into the Light has come out, so Onslaught is out. It's on day 1, April 9th, and then some of this Brave Arsenal, as it's called, is out, but week on week for the next 3 weeks after this, there will
Next
be like
week is the week Briar wants to play.
Yeah, the Mountaintop and Midnight Coup, and then the week after that is Hammerhead and Forbearance, and then the week after that,
I do want a
excited
shiny
about-
Midnight Q.
yeah, Blast Furnace and Luna's Hall on that last rollout
I'm gonna
week.
want
And then,
those two as well.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
that rolls us into as well, like the Whisper exotic mission is out now.
Yeah.
Later is 0 Hour and Outbreak, crafting. And then on April 30th is Pantheon, the raid boss
Yeah.
gauntlet.
Which
And then the
sounds
PvP
crazy.
maps.
And then May
Yeah.
9th, PvP maps. Yeah.
And then
Oh,
PvP maps they say May 7th on the roadmap. Is that?
That's what I said too.
Yeah, okay, cool.
May 7th is a good time, actually. Things coming out in May is okay. I will accept May.
It's Watts
How
approved
kind of
for
you.
game time. There's no way she'll not be playing No Rest for the Wicked at that time still.
Well, Cellblade comes out on April 26th, so that is late April. I don't know how long it is. But that's a time, like, if you're doing something in May, that is a time that I'm like, okay, we can step away for a day, a couple of days. It's fine.
So yeah, I mean, where do we start with that? Should we talk about Onslaught or
I think so.
Yes.
the exotic missions?
So right away when you log in, I was really excited for this, and I was like, "Is this new?" There's a cutscene. They did a cutscene for Into the Light, which was
It's
An
good.
expensive
it's
one,
really
too.
good. It's
Not an
really
ink
cool.
blot. Yeah.
It's really really cool. So that surprised me. And then you're supposed to go to the Hall of Champion Heroes monuments. And that's where you see Shax, and you have like all of his robots running forward to this place, and like it was a really cool introduction to Into the Light. And there's a lot in that room. You've got storage rooms that's got like, here's the Christmas stuff, here's the
I
there's kitties.
laughed at that.
it's great. There's
Ava
kitties.
Levante. I thought that brought me great joy. Yeah, the cutscene surprised me. It was so shiny. And then I see Ava Levante down there Like she's just
Taking
kind of like down
inventory of.
in the cellar, yeah, and she's looking at the what's the Halloween event called? But she's looking at the tree setup for that.
This is where Shax shoves me after the event's over.
Yeah, and so they're just in
Back to your
storage
cave,
rooms.
Ava. Go.
I love that though.
I loved it. It was such a. It's not a thing that they needed to do at all, but this is the kind of stuff in games that it really just adds another layer of happiness as a player and engagement as a player. So I was really happy to see that. It was great. And then we play Onslaught. They invite us to play Onslaught.
Yes.
Oh, but first you talk to the Shax robot with horns. He is very cool.
Oh yeah,
I love
Arsight
him.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Arsight's super cool. That's my new favorite character right there. I love him. Then you play Onslaught.
Yeah, he's just like, here's some new quests. Go play Onslaught. It does.
The quests are actually pretty cool, right? Like, because you have you can pick up one at a time initially of the bounties, which it just gives you a gun at the end, and then after that you unlock a top layer of bounties, which is specific for that gun. And after you do that, you can actually go into the monument again and go up to one of the Shax's hologram statues, and you can choose to have that weapon drop more from all parts of the game. So you can, there's a way for you to focus what you want as well, which is nice.
Yeah, it felt slightly reminiscent of Dares of Eternity to me.
Yeah.
A little bit, with like picking up the bounty, specific weekly bounties for certain things, and the currency as well is dropping for you. The Brave, they call Brave something.
The Brave Arsenal.
Yeah, your Brave
coin.
No,
the Brave token.
Your Brave coin. Sorry, I don't know what it is. Brave
tokens.
token.
The bravery token.
Yeah, just pull up dim.
2 tokens in a blue.
But tokens are very, very useful this time around.
Yeah, it's like 10 at a time at the beginning, right? Like you were getting at Watts to cash in the chest, and then you get like a drop, so you can just keep farming stuff.
Yeah, it's the rewards. It's very
Trophy
rewarding.
of bravery.
Token of bravery.
Trophy.
Oh, trophy.
Oh, they're
that's
trophies.
completely wrong. That's
I
completely
mean,
wrong.
I got no apartment to put
That's
that
what
in,
Dim
so
has it as labeled.
they're not
Yeah.
trophies.
I was completely wrong.
I also like that your reputation with Shax is called your hype.
Yeah,
Seems
it is your
appropriate.
hype. yeah, it is your hype.
What's your hype level at, bro?
Oh, that's cool. So your hype rank goes up, and then you can unlock more chests. I think. Oh, that's what reminded me. Like there's other chests out in the big hall that you have to get to a certain rank, and then you can use your what are the Brave tokens of
trophies of bravery.
Get out of here with that. But yeah, so rank, and then based on that rank, which I think Dares had or has something like that, and then you need to be both to get this.
But that's all I do like the way they laid those chests out, because at first you're like, oh, it's just a ton of chests, it's chaos. But then you look at those sigils on the floor, and it's like the first one has the giant Titan sigil. So you're like, oh, this is the whole Titan armor set. And then you move forward to the Hunter and then the Warlock. And so I thought that was kind of a cool effect. So you sort of orient yourself and know where you're going and which chest means what.
Yeah. I feel like an idiot for asking this. Is there a vault module in there? Because I didn't see one, and it drove me nuts.
I have not found a vault or postmaster node there at all.
Rude. They're done
I agree.
Rude.
Day
Totally
one,
agree.
I couldn't get to the tower or the helm for hours. I was like,
Just shows me
infuriating.
Just more proof they've given up on vault and gear management. I know we're getting some more space. Like seriously, I suddenly had because I'm always have like a full vault, and then I wanted to get rid of stuff. I was like, I gotta do that just before I play Onslaught.
That's completely fair criticism, because like I felt the same way. I was like, this is so dumb that they don't have an we're here to get a ton of new gear.
Tons.
You're opening up this chest with my trophies, and I just got 5 new rolls, but they all went to the postmaster. Dim's down.
Yeah.
I gotta go load up the tower. Yeah, I thought that was a pain.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just throw a vault node in there. So if you can still drop one in there somewhere, that'd be great. Thanks, Bungie.
that would be nice. Yeah.
So Onslaught, should we?
Yeah, Onslaught. I liked it a lot more than I expected to. It's so when you first play it, you're playing for 10 waves, and then you're getting the chest at the end. And then that unlocks the other module that allows you to select for 50 waves at 1600 power level, and it ramps up. Or you could do the 1810 that ramps up, which is obviously the legendary one. Yeah. I did obviously did the 10 because you have to. I did think 2 runs of the 50 because my whole team got kicked out at wave 44.
Ah,
we were
Server
standing there.
kicked?
Yeah, it was servers. We were standing there,
Bum,
and the
bum,
knights
bum.
just like stopped moving,
And
but
you're
my
like, no.
teammates were moving, and I was like, "What's going on? Did the knights just give up? Maybe they gave up." And then we all got kicked. So yeah, then I did it again. We got to 50, and that was great. That felt like an activity that you could do without comms quite easily with randoms. Like you could get in there and do your thing.
how long does it
And-
take a run up to 50?
About an hour.
Okay, that's not bad.
And you do get rewarded every 10 waves with a chest. You're getting
Yeah.
loot like constantly. So, and then you get the trophies that you could spend to open a chest to get
You'll
more
get
loot.
it.
So it is
Yeah.
very rewarding. Very, very rewarding.
And then
Yeah,
if
let's-
you complete the 50th wave, don't you get extra perks on your drop? Like your gun has like
Maybe.
another row of perks
I
on
think
it?
I
I
don't
recall hearing
remember.
about that. I forgot.
I thought that was just the shinies. Like shinies can be random. I thought.
Chinese.
Isn't that what they're called?
Well,
The
yeah, the
like
foiled
curated
ones, yeah.
masterwork
I know what
shinies.
they are, yeah.
You guys will be very upset that I got a Succession, the Deepstone Cryptum sniper, which I love. The first thing I got was that, I think, and I got.
Why would he be upset about your success, Fran? We love you.
Because I got reconstruction with Vorpal.
How poorly do you think of us?
I mean, I know you meant, but yeah, I got
My-
reconstruction with Vorpal. I couldn't believe there's tons of loot
Yeah,
dropping.
that's good. That's really good. I
Made
got
me happy.
Succession is my favorite primary sniper for PvP. I have a PvP one and a PvE one. And I got moving target snapshot on my first one, so I was pretty happy about that.
PvP action, huh?
Yeah, I was happy. With that.
We should recap real fast for those who haven't seen it. Right?
What
are
is
the 3
Onslaught?
maps? Yeah, what are the 3
What are
maps?
they?
Vostok, Midtown, Moth Yards, and what's the fourth?
That's it. There's only 3, right? Is there supposed to be a 4th one coming? I think there's only
You haven't
3,
played the
right?
4th one yet?
There's a 4th one? You're a liar.
With a small note, Midtown, I would love for that to just be the Crucible map now. Like what they did to it and like really freshens it up and makes it feel like a newer experience with all the pyramid stuff everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I want to point out. It's not just Midtown. It's not just Moth
It's
Yards,
not
right?
just Midtown, no.
They took these locations and they slightly modified them with like
And
darkness.
it's not just Crucible
witness.
maps. Because you have the
the Moth Yards.
Moth Yards, yeah.
That's my favorite location because of that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just that, and the waves start coming at you. So, yeah, like let's use Moth Yards as an example. You're like out where the airplanes crashed, and you're up on like a little ledge over that, and basically you can put down tripwires by using shards. You cash those in and earn them while defeating enemies and stuff. And then you can like set up a turret, but only between waves.
Yeah,
then
it's
what
like
happens?
if you're playing Valorant or CS:GO, right? In between rounds, you have your buy phase.
Yeah. And then you get to that point where the portal opens up and you actually go into the witness ship or whatever, pyramid. And then you go in there and you beat some stuff up, you come back out and you do more waves.
There's like 2 pyramid phases. Phase 1 is the spark phase.
The rift.
Yeah, which is basically like you have to kill these special baddies, collect a spark, and run down a gauntlet and dunk the thing before the spark ignites. Like it's got a timer on it.
I like that.
And that's kind of cool. And then the second phase is a boss phase. So that's like every 10 rounds you go back in for the boss phase.
Mm-hmm. And then I think which I didn't get to level 50, there's a boss for level 50, right? Believe so.
Yeah,
There is on Legend at least. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
you
it's
fight a boss at the end.
Yeah.
And then also tormentors show up sometimes just to ruin your day.
Also,
Yes.
Briggs,
with mortar cannons that will spawn far away and just snipe your ADU.
I'm calling it an
Yeah.
It's
and
an
then you like run over there to take it out, and you're like, "I got it, guys!" While they're defending, and then you're like, "Oh, but I did not got it."
There
Yeah.
is some interesting stuff going on in there. Yeah, you've got your buy phase where you set up your turrets, your trip mines, your decoys. Which, if you fully upgrade the decoy, it turns into shacks. By the way,
it's a fake
for
shack
anyone who didn't
decoy.
know. Yeah.
And the decoy is like so much better than people think. Everyone's like, "Oh, get
It's
the
very
turret, get the
good.
turret." Decoy's freaking really good.
It's really, really good. Yeah.
It soaks up so
Um,
much aggro.
and then you have balls that fall from more stronger enemies that you throw at your Adu to
Yeah, little shield
heal it.
batteries.
And by the way, even if your thing is fully healed,
If your
always
unit
be
is fully healed,
if your unit is fully healed, grabbing the balls and throwing them give you scrap. So still pick up the balls and throw them at the thing because you get more scrap, and more scrap is good.
yeah, it took me a second
Um,
to do that because I was
yeah.
like getting shards or scrap or whatever from defeating things, and then I was like, well, if my shield battery is full, why do I keep throwing this? It keeps saying like plus 45, and then I was like,
Mm,
oh right, that's the same currency. I was,
yeah. So do that.
yeah,
And then
still
you
useful.
have you've got like bonus objectives that will pop up. You've got dismantling mines, you've got capturing like a pyramid control point. You've got little things in the air that you shoot as part of your objective. So there's a bunch of bonus objectives that will pop up as well. And then yeah, like TV was saying, there was a guy that spawns who's like the mortar guy, and you have to stand in a pool to take down their
Mhm.
shields to kill them before they start mortaring your your Adu.
Yeah, the hunt mechanic, basically. I don't know if they had done that before, right? When you went
It
on
is,
hunts, it's kind of like that. You stand in the pool. Uh, I want to throw this out there and see how you guys felt. So
Hmm.
when I went in, my first impression was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, it was fun. They did what I thought. Like, it's wave based. And I was kind of like a little bored, but then I was dying quickly on like regular. And I was like, geez, there's a lot of enemies, man. But I was like clearly being a little lazy about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to tighten things up, but this is a little intense. So I kind of got a little scared off for a while. I did like 3 or 4 of those. Of doing like legend, but then I was getting like bored, to be quite honest. I was like, I don't think I can grind too much Onslaught personally playing normal mode. I was doing that, and then I was streaming, and then somebody mentioned just like, oh, did you try legend? I was like, no, why didn't I try legend yet? I love like so whatever the case, I stupidly was sitting on normal, and then I went into legend, and wow, that was refreshing. All of a sudden, right, I'm actually thinking about, oh, I gotta upgrade this turret. I'm saving my scraps. Oh crap, I'm bringing in. I need an anti-barrier sidearm, like because we need to shut these champions down. It's going to be a problem, and they're going to be crowding and so on. So it suddenly does the thing that legend mode and hero, etc., make you think about. And then it got a lot of fun for me. And I was off comms with the team. I can only imagine on comms with the team as we got to like level 30 something, the second try, tightening it up on legend. And I just put that out there because if you're the type of player that's like, I don't know, I tried, it was kind of, make sure if you know what you're doing, try legend mode. And use Fireteam Finder, which is
Use
another
Fireteam
perk.
Finder or get some
Yeah.
buds together. Yeah. And then you gotta like that was fun for our group was like, well, what are you doing? Because it's not just like what am I gonna run? It's like, well, what are you running? And then what do I need to, okay, so
Mhm.
you're doing the stasis turrets, so you got guys slowing down. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna focus then on big target damage, So the sort of team aspect comes in legend mode. That's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that normal is still fun? Because I thought it was relatively. You didn't need to
I
do any of what you just described. I don't think at
I
all.
do not get down with. I'm not really a horde mode guy in
Mhm.
games in general, and the normal mode is a snooze fest to me. Like I just,
But you
I'm
tried
like,
legend?
oh yeah, I basically now I just play Legend with the guys. As soon as the podcast is over, I'm jumping up with KJ Hovey, play some Legend.
Nice. Old school.
I with the so for me, because I'm super casual on Destiny and I kind of just play and want to get some loot and then go play Dragon's Dogma. Um, I actually I find a lot of value in the regular onslaught mode because I can just hop in, kind of chill, not be like super efficient with everything and working with my team in the best way. And I can get a good amount of loot from that. Like you can jump in there and you can match make with random people and you can probably get yourself to wave 50 and you end up leaving with a lot of loot. So I think that it's definitely got a really good purpose of like, hey, if you just want to hop in and do like 2 rounds of 50, you will leave with a good amount of loot on you, a good amount of those trophies to get more loot, and probably complete a bounty on the way or a couple bounties.
Yeah,
And
and
you
I
get
think
more
you're
guns.
right. You just vibe out and like kill enemies. I think, but that's where I'm at with Destiny, and like it's the
Yeah.
same as playing the campaign, of Witch Queen when it came out. Of like, I know if I just played normal mode, I'd be like, yeah, it was all right, you know. But because did Legend, you know, it forces you to like think. And again, I'm not shaming one thing or the other. It really brought out the like, oh, it's making me use these things I've earned over thousands of hours, including whatever knowledge I may have. That I found really enjoyable. But me, I very much was like, my first, to be more blunt about it, I started playing, I was like, it's free, guys. Like, it's fine, you know? It's all right, you know? It's what I expected. I was very like dishwater, meh. And then I played Legend mode. I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. You know, I really changed my tune because I found the right gameplay level. So I just make sure you keep that in mind on all of Destiny. You know, sometimes you're just shooting tons of enemies, but like when you got to think about it and use all of these amazing abilities and stuff, really changes things.
Yeah, I don't know
Just how
what
I
it
like
is
playing.
with me and Destiny. I've never been interested in doing like super hard stuff, doing the solo flawless, like trying to go for that. Whereas in other games, I want them to be as difficult as possible, and I'll always play on the most difficult.
Yeah.
But for Destiny, I just don't care. I just want to get it.
But you play
It's with
PvP,
I play PvP because
which is sweaty.
that engages my brain. PvE I think always bores me no matter what. Like I'm getting tired. I need to take a nap after I play PvE.
Because you're not playing on these harder modes. You just
No, but
nailed it.
when I
You
do,
don't
it
want
makes me tired. Like GMs, I hate
I
them. The hard
no,
mode dungeons. Oh god, I
yeah,
don't like it.
I
Really
hear
don't
you
like
on that. Like the way I see it, because I'm a PvP guy too. The
Yeah.
way I see it is like PvE is like eating your veggies. It's like, okay, well, it's something I gotta do. Like, okay, did you eat your veggies? Yeah, I did my raid for the week and knocked out my nightfall, so that now I can go enjoy my PvP. You know, my protein, my meat.
Yeah, we're opposite on that. But I mean, it is important to remember what, like, everyone plays Destiny for different reasons, and when we all
Yeah.
come together to talk about it, it's so easy to argue and forget. You know, as people say, "Oh man, like, maybe they hate this update," and it's like, you know, it's free. Like, what are you
That's
looking
why
for?
I
You
think
know?
Onslaught is so good because you can super casually dip in. You don't have to be super optimal, and you can get a lot of loot from it and have fun shooting enemies, which is always fun in Destiny. Or you can choose to be more optimal and get a group or you know do the fire team finder, and you can get even more loot, and it's a little bit more engaging of an experience for your builds and your weapons and all of that. So you have a really rewarding activity with two different ways that you can engage in it, and I think that's great. I think it's
Yeah.
great. I'm really happy with what they've done with Onslaught. I think it's good.
Yeah, thumbs up. I'd say after one day, I'm happy. Once I got the legend mode and kind of was enticed by that feeling. But I definitely was immediately, and I know it's greedy, but I'm like, there's just not enough maps, you know. But I'm enjoying it. Never happy.
Is that the only difference loot wise? Is you just get more loot in the harder difficulty? Or is there
I mean,
anything specific loot wise that you can only get in
there's
harder
more
Well,
difficulty?
vegetables.
Are the drop rates better in Legend version
I have no idea.
for
The
the
shiny.
Yeah.
the shinies? I feel like they are,
I would
but
assume so.
Definitely. I mean, they've detailed it. There's been so much that was suddenly coming at us. Fact check it. Leave it in the comments for us.
yeah, they'll take care of it.
I mean, it always works that way. You always get more loot in the higher level modes. So you're going to get more for going for 50. And you're going to, I mean, without knowing the facts, like, and definitely on legend mode.
And I've gotten one shiny so far. I think I played for, I think it was about 3 hours, mostly doing the 1600. I did a bit of the legend. And I got a shiny.
What was it?
I got a shiny Elsie's rifle.
Mm.
Yeah,
How do you like
I got that one. I haven't used it yet.
It's just like, I don't know,
haven't
it
used it
dropped and then I loaded up Dragon's Dogma.
And then yeah, I did get sleepy and then played Dragon's Dogma for the rest of the
Yeah, I legitimately do. And, you know, I know I'm a broken record, but I definitely just have a lot of trouble playing the game because of the vault system and like having to, you know, yeah, if eating vegetables is part of the game while doing your homework is part of the game, and I'm tired of keeping up with the vault because like you get so many drops. Again, my issue isn't the size of the vault. It's that you throwing so much loot at me and there's nothing in the game to deal with it. And you just have to like literally every time I do it, it's like just shut all the energy down and like look at your
The
stuff.
vault isn't like
And-
eating your vegetables. It's like taking like your medicine
It's doing your tax.
suppository.
Yeah, it's even worse than homework.
Oh, come on.
It's a suppository. Oh, it is. Yes.
It's doing taxes for sure.
yeah.
I like taking my medicine. I pop a pill. I'm done. I'm done in 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Going through a vault does not take 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean, some people are lucky that way. They're like, I don't. This is the stuff I'm using. I don't care about any of this stuff, and I'm stuck on the like. I've played this for thousands of hours, and like, ironically, I mean, I know you think this is a joke, but I needed because of the artifact. I wanted to use. I had to use a hand cannon or sidearm for anti-barrier and non-exotic because I already had that locked in to Thunderlord. And I was like, man, I need like a good sidearm. And so that only left me with because of my loadout, a kinetic primary slot. Long story short, I just had this like stasis, feeding frenzy, headstone. And I put it out. I was like, oh, this is so much fun. I'm glad I kept it. And that's why. It's momentary, but I earned it. And without it, I would have been I've been fine, but I would have been a little more bored. So anyway. I really hope for Final Shape there's more quality of life stuff, as I continue to say. With that, I doubt it, but time to take that suppository.
Pretend like you're not enjoying it, Mr. Whips and Chains.
Time to open up TurboTax. And
Exactly.
I will enjoy PvE more with the dread running at me. That's for sure. The big guys, like
Or
the
flying at you.
Yeah. The bats are also, they could be sexually attractive, sure. The little scion guys, I don't know. They don't really do it for me. But definitely the Strand and Stasis Rolk dudes. They look great. They look real good.
She's really into them.
Is there any other Destiny stuff you guys want to talk about? Is there any other games you want to talk about, or do you want to get to Twitter questions?
I mean, I won't force us to, but the Whisper mission is back, and that was a huge
have you
part
done
of
it?
this.
Have you run it?
Yeah.
And they
You
did
get a
change it.
new Whisper?
Not yet. Multi-step, Briar.
Oh, is it?
What do you think? You're just going to run it once and get a new one?
Well, I mean,
I think it's going to give you
that'd be nice.
loot.
It's just one of those like get your it's like more modern exotic quests where you get the blueprint thing to bring back to Eris, and then I haven't gone much farther than the first run, but I did do it, and I gotta tell you, it even though I had run it so much in the past, especially for like just getting catalysts done of things, because it used to be because of the way it had the thrall pouring out of the walls. You used to just go in there and it was a great place to get catalyst. But so I've done it a lot, and I sort of worried that I was like, yeah, I don't. But after I do an onslaught and stuff, I'm like, I need to try this too. Hopped in regular, not legend mode yet. And at first I was like kind of just remembering it. I'm like, man, all these jumps, like pretty cool though. And the music kicks in, and I was like, this music is real good. And the whole vibe kind of came together as I got midway through it. And it's not a long mission. And I think that's the important thing. This is way back when this didn't really exist, right? It was, I guess, the first, right? And so you just get in it, and man, it's so cool. I think you guys would love it if you ever were into, these exotic missions. But man, the music is banging, and it's absolutely worth the vibe. It was really tough, even towards the end of regular mode. And it's easy to play through, right? Because it's not super long. So highly recommend. Don't sleep on it. I almost did, but it was super enjoyable.
Good.
Yeah, I definitely want to check out 0 Hour. Getting a crafted outbreak sounds more appealing than a crafted whisper to me.
And they just buffed lightweight frame pulses too. So
yes, so that definitely intrigues me.
That's all.
Twitter questions.
Remember, next week on Thursday is No Rest for the Wicked. Briar asked earlier that is it only on PC? Early access is just on Steam, but when they're out of early access, it's coming to everything except the Switch and phones.
Oh, okay. So, that I was a little confused because I saw that it was coming to PS5, but yeah, I didn't know it was. You had told me this before, and I forgot.
And I will have a code where you can get 10% off No Rest for the Wicked, but I do not have it yet. But when I have it, I'll let you know so you can save money.
Watts is like my personal Siri for video gaming knowledge. Like, Watts, when is No Rest for the Wicked coming out and what platforms? Hey, Watts.
If you play early access, you also get a special set of armor as a thank you for doing early access.
Nice. I'm
It's
definitely gonna be checking this out.
$31.
You think it'll run on Steam Deck? It doesn't look like it'll run on Steam Deck. The graphics
I
look so
don't
good.
know. I know
It's-
that they were aware of the Steam Deck and they were like, currently it's not possible. So I
Okay.
think they might want to get it to work on there,
Okay,
but I
that's
haven't
fine.
heard anything yet.
I'm happy to play it on PC. It looks so good. I really like their
It's
past work.
beautiful.
I did hear some concerning stuff about like how people were being treated in that studio. Hopefully that's improved since then.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I tried to look it up on Amazon, and it's like, yeah, that's the name of many books apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very difficult to look up the name of that game and not get the song and books and yeah. It's very difficult.
I did want to talk about Rise of the Ronin just very briefly because
Yeah.
I have been continuing my adventure, my samurai spring. We even bought a book about all the samurai weaponry.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we've been having fun over here because with Shonen on Hulu and Rise of the Ronin, and we started watching other samurai movies. I don't know, we're just way into it right now.
I went to really quick sidetrack. I went to I think it was called the Ninja Museum. There was a samurai ninja museum. It was something like that in Kyoto, and they had actual samurai armor in there, and that was incredible to see in person because that stuff it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you get to you can see, of course, like where the armor has taken hits and stuff.
Really?
So it was very
Like
interesting.
it's been used. Wow.
Yeah.
Like it's actually
it was really great.
artifacts from history. That's incredible.
Actual armor.
I got a trivia question for you guys. Everybody knows, like the samurai carries two swords, right? The katana is the regular one, like the long one, and the short one is called
the tanto.
Is that right? I don't know.
I don't think it's right.
You can't ask a trivia question.
TV seems to know. I think TV is a samurai based on the confidence of that response.
TV was so confident that Briar's answer that he had lined up, he totally lost confidence in. He's like,
yes, it's a tanto. Yes, it's a side. It's like it's
Briar.
It's the shorter.
The answer that I keep coming up with is the wakizashi.
Is that a type of tanto?
I don't know. So now I don't know.
I'm looking it up.
And it's weird that there's two different answers. But I also heard that a katana is a katana if it's held with the blade up, but it's called something different if you hold it with blade down. Even though it's the same sword, it just depends on how you hold it or how it's holstered on your hip.
Yeah. I don't know any of this.
Yeah. Very confusing.
It's very interesting.
Anyhow, Rise of the Ronin continues to be really fun. This game continues to get pooped on by just about everybody who reviews it on YouTube. And I've started watching some of these reviews because like I'm getting so much enjoyment out of this game. And like I see the titles and I see the thumbnails and I'm just like, what are people's complaints about this game? And yeah, I kind of get it. If you don't like Assassin's Creed games, then you're probably not going to like this. Or if you want a Dark Souls game, this isn't a Dark Souls game, right? This is an Assassin's Creed style game, but with, combat more similar to something like Neo. And I don't think the combat is perfect, but it's really fun, and I find it really engaging. There's just a massive amount of weapons that you can use, and there's like different stances that you can use for each weapon. You have special attacks. You have, at some points, you're controlling 3 characters at once, which is really fun. Like, I don't know, man. This game is really fun. It shows a different point of history than like any other game I've ever played. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, 2 things, right? We got to stop talking about games that are in the 70s, right, out of 100. Like, that's not a bad game. That's a good score. Stop acting like you're disappointed, everybody. All you on YouTube. I'm tired of it. And secondly, stop reviewing stuff based on your expectation. Like, I mean, if that's your thing, I mean, because YouTube is very different than hopefully what the mainstream critics do, which is either way, just try to review something based on what it is, versus what you wanted it to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I had a game like that last year that everybody crapped on. All the reviews were so terrible. It's
Anthem?
Forspoken.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean,
And
did we ever talk about this?
I loved playing that game,
Fran
start to
enjoyed it
finish. I thought the combat was so freaking cool once you unlocked all the different types of magic and the
Yes.
way that you could spec out your character and like switch from one style of magic to the next. I just thought it was such a smooth combat system.
It was really cool. Yeah, it's funny. That was a very flawed campaign and super oddly put together. And the open world and the combat stuff. Yeah, perfect example. I would go, lower in the 60s, but like I'm like, I still redeeming qualities. I really thought that
But
system
it was still
cool. Why
really
didn't they do
fun,
more?
yeah.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't
nobody
give it
could
an A,
believe.
but it was
Yeah.
fun.
And that's the point. So it's just worth. Thank you. People need to think about stuff that like you can still have fun in that zone. And like I'm glad, Briar, you're having fun with Rise of the Ronin. I actually have heard this from a couple folks. I know Greg Miller at Kind of Funny has talked a lot about. He's like, it's just fun. I don't know, I just hop in. I'm having fun. Yeah, you're zipping around and doing all sorts of stuff as a samurai, but like,
Oh yeah,
it's just fun.
There's stealth in this game that's handled pretty well, where you have like a grappling hook that only has certain attachment points. You can't just use it anywhere willy-nilly. But the attachment points are kind of like everywhere you'd expect them to be, like rooftops and fence posts, like places you think they should be. And you also have like a glider. So what you could do is like get up to a high spot and like say there's like an encampment of bad guys. You can glide down into the middle of that like encampment and like assassinate guys on your way down, or you can land on the rooftops and like grab people and pull them up with your grappling hook and assassinate them on the rooftops, leaving their bodies on the rooftops. And then
I love that.
Because of this specific period in history, it's like the 1850s and 1860s, you have access to guns like rifles and pistols and stuff, as well as like traditional samurai stuff like bows and arrows and swords and axes and all sorts of weaponry.
I learned that by watching Shogun a little bit.
Did they have
before,
guns in
I think,
Shogun? Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
they did.
there's just the beginnings of it, but it's probably it's set before,
That cannon scene. Holy smokes.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah. But it's just like in the way you do headshots with a rifle was where the guy's head just pops right off. And like, it does that like blood spurting out of the neck, the empty neck, like up in the air. That's just so satisfying. And there's this cool mechanic when you're in a sword fight. Like you're in a sword fight, you parry the guy, and then you get your swipes in, and then you flick the blade to get the blood off of the blade.
Sure, yeah.
And it enhances your stamina. So like it's like, oh yeah, I'm a badass. And then you just get right back into it because you're just so fucking cool. And then there's another button that before you sheath your sword, you like you either flick it or you wipe it. There's like different animations depending on which weapon you're. I mean, the game is just fucking cool.
Oh, I'm in.
It's very good.
Yeah, like Ghost of Tsushima had that in it, and I loved.
Yeah,
that little flourish just makes you feel like a badass. Those little things go a long way for me.
Yeah.
I really want to play it.
Playing it reminds me a lot, obviously, of Ghost of Tsushima because the like the setting is just so similar. And I definitely miss some of the features of Ghost of Tsushima, like those duels that were so cool, where you'd get to a specific spot and you'd have this one-on-one duel with like a epic swordsman.
Yeah,
but and they don't have things like that, but they have really cool boss fights in this that are just awesome. It's a cool game.
Yeah.
I feel like people are just sleeping on this one. It makes me a little sad.
I'm excited to play it.
Yeah.
Just came out at a tricky time, I think. There was,
yeah.
It was what was the other one that came out at the same time?
Dragon's Dogma.
Oh yeah, Dragon's Dogma, which got so much press, and RPGs are just they're both RPGs in their own way, but Dragon's Dogma more so, and that got so much. Especially I think coming out of Baldur's Gate, people just excited for that genre.
I'm still playing Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
I still haven't played it.
I
gotta get onto it,
man.
I'm not playing Rise of Ronin because I had been waiting a really long time for Horizon Forbidden West, one of my favorite new franchises that came to PlayStation and like finally hit PC, I had played like 5 or 6 hours at the beginning. I was like, you know what? I was wait probably. I'm like, I was busy with other stuff at the time too, and I'm glad I did. And if you don't like open world games, yeah, like Assassin's Creed, you're not gonna like that one either. But huge, very satisfying. Just playing a very difficult mode, and the fights, everything. Yeah, it feels like a mini boss. We were talking
You
about.
talking
it
about Forbidden West still?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like just a random encounter with just a regular machine can sometimes be so freaking satisfying, depending on how you take that fight.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the Horizon series too.
I'm sticking with that until I'm done. So it's my treat. So well, Rise of the Ronin, I guess we'll see.
I wonder if I should go back to that game now that's out on PC and they've made so many improvements to it.
It's a looker. Very pretty.
It doesn't have cross save, does it? I can't just pick up from where I left off on the PS5.
No.
I'm still like holding out hope, but I don't think Ghost of Tsushima is going to have that either. I don't know why they wouldn't have cross progression at a minimum, like you're saying, but cross play as well for Legend would be just badass.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about it. Shame on you if you
The
don't
PS5 version of that was awesome too, because that ran at 60.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those are crossplay, but obviously the same ecosystem.
Yeah. I think it's probably almost the same game, right?
Yeah, to be fair, it was an upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a new SKU. You actually got a free upgrade, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. I almost want to buy another copy of Ghost of Tsushima just to support it and let them know.
Yeah.
I love you.
Right? Pretty sure they're working on a sequel.
Yeah,
I'd be
they better
shocked.
be.
I
They
think
better
they've
be.
been
Y'all hear
said
me?
to be doing that. Yeah, Sucker Punch.
Twitter?
Don't make any more infamous right now.
Yeah, right?
Hmm.
Crap. I said Twitter questions and I'm not ready
You
at all.
did. Yeah, sometimes I know we always have something in our pocket to buy you time. So anyway, that Rulk guy,
Yeah.
he's pretty
Bring
kinky
on the
looking,
leather,
isn't
am I
He is a sex icon.
he?
Sublime Phoenix says, if you had to fight 1,000 thrall-sized bats with guns, oh, you son of a bitch, Sublime.
Keep reading, Briar.
Gators
doing this.
Howdy, guys. As a vet from D1, I never liked super black shader. Why do you guys think the super black shader is so popular? Love you.
Because people don't have to try with their fashion if
Yes.
they put on the super black.
This
Got it.
explains
you're
why I
using-
wear black shirts 90% of the time.
If you're using other colors, like, because it gets rid of pretty much all of the detail of your armor, so you don't need to worry about like matching the different styles of the armor. If you're mixing and matching, you can just throw super black on there and you don't need to think about it, and it works
Also-
because it's super black.
You know who was the coolest person in Star Wars?
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Black, right? The coolest.
I was like, is this a trick question?
Cool
or-
guys always wear black.
I get the reasoning. It's because they want to have. I mean, to be fair, a lot of fashion Destiny is like, oh, it's so clean. It's all white or all black. I'm like, that's great, but to Watts, his point, right? Maybe do
Yeah.
something a little more original.
I feel nothing for
So
super
clean,
black.
bro.
I don't have anything
Definitely.
against it, but like, I probably won't wear it.
I think it's great it's back, but yeah, I mean, like, meaning on the plus side, it's a shader to talk about, and it's got sentimentality to it. Whereas, like, if they
Yeah.
just launch some new shader, it'd be like amongst the hundreds and hundreds that you'd be
Do
like,
you remember back in D1 when like all the faction shaders were super rare drops? So
Yeah.
like collecting all the shaders for each faction was like a big deal. It'd be like, I finally got the last future war cult shader I've been working on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was cool when they used to do
I
stuff like
loved
that.
that. Yeah. If you put a shader somewhere for me to work towards, I'll do it.
I wish they would do more stuff like that with like even with PvP. That's a great way to infuse a little value into PvP. It's like, hey, well, there's a whole bunch of shaders you can unlock for doing certain things. Like get 500 headshot final blows with Haka weapons, and you're gonna get this really cool Haka shader. You
I
know what I
love
mean?
that.
Which
Yeah.
would force people to like change up the way that they play based on what they're pursuing. Halo 4 was a terrible game, but that was one thing they did really well. Was in the PvP, there were all these different cosmetics you could unlock by using specific weapons and doing certain things with them, which that gave that game a lot more longevity for me personally.
oh, totally. I mean, you made me think of finishers. Like, I'm so mad that finishers are so few and far between, and you can't just like grind for some cool finishers, and it's boring. Thankfully, there's tons of shaders, but I agree with you. We just need that stuff for the people who go super deep and reward them. You know, like Guardian ranks were kind of a neat thing that you could see. I know some people don't like that system, but I like seeing that people put in the time and shaders by extension of that.
Noxborn says, is a whole new race of enemy and the ability to further deepen build crafting with Prismatic subclass enough for you guys to be pulled back in? It sure got me hopping on the Bungie hype train. P.S. AQI is 68 today. Finally not as deadly as usual. That's a drop. You were at like 120 last week, right, Noxborn? Is that right?
Or 200? It
Was
was
it?
even
No,
higher than that.
200. Isn't that like...
He was in the hundreds, or they were.
Mine is 29 today.
I'm
If
at
you're
a 58.
interested.
I think it's probably pollen season here because I've been noticing a little irritation of the throat. It might be time to get on the Claritin.
Trees are cooming
air,
in the air.
Air quality updates. Just gripping.
That's because they didn't allow any female trees to be planted so that poor people couldn't have free food. So...
God damn,
Thanks,
it's all a
America.
conspiracy, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't know.
No, it's just
wait,
true.
Is that supposed to be part of it? I thought it. I didn't know why they're all male trees.
Yeah, it makes your allergies worse because it's just all male trees. They're literally they're cooming in the air. There's no ladies to suck it up.
But they did. I thought they just didn't want them pollinating, so there's not like a bunch of random trees.
You got such a way with words there, Watts. So eloquently said.
They just don't want you picking fruit for yourself. You got to buy it at the grocery store. Okay. What was I gonna say about that? With Destiny, for me, my interaction and thoughts about Destiny are always just like, my door is wide open for Bungie to show up and like knock my socks off, surprise me, entice me, make me excited. Like, it's always open. I don't dislike Bungie. I don't dislike Destiny. It's always just a thing of like, if the final shape is really fun and I want to log in every week to do the next story or whatever it is that I'm wanting to do in the final shape, then I'm going to do it. If not, then I'm just going to be over there playing Elden Ring like all day, every day. But yeah, like my door is always open for Bungie to surprise and delight me.
Yeah, the question is a little projection, I think. Like, it assumes that you weren't excited. It assumes that all this stuff. Again, everybody's got their different reasons. But yeah, spoiler alert, I've always enjoyed playing Destiny expansions. I've never liked grinding, gear until I'm blue in the face, and I like playing a lot of other games. And that's just my style. There's nothing right or wrong with it. But like, I've been very optimistic about the final shape. In terms of the reveal, I've actually said I need to see more, but I'm still excited to play it. But it actually didn't knock my socks off yet. As much as I think it's cool to mix and match a bunch of powers and have new power, like, I want to see from a gameplay perspective, like, oh, that looks like it's going to be fun to play. In other words, I don't want to go back to an old strike with Prismatic. Not going to do it for me at all. I'm not interested in going back to an old Ray. I need to see the new content. And like Onslaught, same thing. Like, okay, what is the version of that stuff in Final Shape that you're like, this is a lot of fun to play? At the very least, some new strikes and stuff like that. So
everything they showed in that 20-minute video excited me greatly. I can't wait to play it. Like, I was really excited about it. So
yeah,
playing this day one. I would have been playing today, but I just had kind of personal emergencies all day. That's just the only reason I wasn't playing all day today.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, big props to their teams that basically do the gameplay, collect the gameplay footage and record those clips. Like they kind of crushed it. I mean, you got to give props. It's always like the meme in chat, or like, oh, they don't even play their own game. Look how bad they are. But like, that whole showcase was like, okay, they're showing a real mastery over these combinations, and they're putting on a show for us, which I appreciated.
Yep.
Hey, Blaze says, am I the only one who thinks Prismatic won't really power creep much, if at all? Sure, it'll be very fun to come up with crazy combos, but you'll lose a lot of the subclass synergy and potency of what the aspects and the fragments on a normal subclass.
Yeah. Jack of all trades, master of none, kind of a thing.
It's the Warfare in DD2 coming to D2. Dragon's Dogma 2 Warfare. You get to mix like a bunch of different you can mix a bunch of different abilities, but the way that they have it is like you can essentially only have 3 abilities total from all of the vocations. So that limit that they put on this kind of multi-classing stuff in games really does bring down the power, but it allows you to do some really cool stuff. And it makes you able to be really unique in what you end up playing as. So I think that's exciting for me, is being able to really being able to craft my own unique way of being a guardian.
The Gaming Ox says, if you could eat Briar as any other food besides barbecue, what would it be? Sorry, Briar. Not accepted, Gaming Ox. And next time you have a really important question that you're dying to have us answer, I'm going to ignore it.
I think I'd
When
do
you're
a
like,
Briar
"Oh,
curry.
Guys, I'm
Briar
so
curry
sorry
would be good,
about the
yeah.
last question, but I forgot my locker combination. Can you help me out?" I'll be like, "No." Grimlock says,
Great question. You can DM me your question. I'll make sure to get it in for you. Good question.
You should be like, wait,
Making me
Briar,
hungry.
I got a question you missed. That was great.
Like
Yep.
Briar and potatoes in curry, like a Masaman Briar.
Grimlock
yeah.
says,
curry. know what I'm saying?
That sounds great. I love Indian food.
you can
Oh,
never
man.
eat one of these meats for the rest of your life. Which one do you swear off for good? Fish, beef, pork, or chicken?
This is a very easy answer for me. So
Wait, we're just kicking one of those out?
Yeah, you can
I
never
would
eat
get
one of
rid of
these meats
pork.
for the rest of your life. Which
I
one do
love
you
all of
swear
them,
off?
but I would get rid of pork in that case.
You're gonna get rid
Make
of
sure
bacon.
I have a good.
I think I'd get rid of chicken because I love fish.
I love chicken
and
though.
pork is a great like protein to supplement things, like to give big kicks of salt
Pulled
and
pork
flavor.
sandwiches,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
sausage.
crap. You got me on that one. Oof. Yeah,
I think chicken's
just
gotta
like,
go.
I
I mean,
was
half
trying to
the
be somewhat
barbecue is
healthy
just
about
out the
mine.
window.
Yeah, but
But,
I
like,
mean, there's tons of
pancetta,
good
you know?
beef, red
Yeah,
meat. I mean,
there's great beef and chicken barbecue. That's great, sure.
I mean, to be fair, the only reason I kept chicken was because, like, I think it gives you a lot of options and to be somewhat healthy. Whereas if
And
you only
wings are
have the
great.
other options, you're
Yeah.
only going to be eating fish in terms of like the lower fat meats. That's where I was coming from. I was trying to be like
I think that makes sense.
sensible about
I'm getting rid of fish.
it.
Love fish.
I like it too, but like when I look at the alternatives here,
Dude,
chicken,
sushi,
beef,
You
and
got
pork.
all sushi, dude. You get rid of sushi.
God damn. I mean, I don't want to, but fucking
To be
Grimlock's
fair,
giving me no choice.
You can have what's maybe what was the raw beef on rice, the nigori style?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
nigiri
you
style.
can-
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
It's
you
like-
could get that. That's true.
really
Perfect.
good red meat on like a rice is like almost like sushi.
Suck down
You can
enough
get raw
asahi, it's all
horse
good.
meat if you want.
Okay, horse wasn't on the menu once. Wait,
I'm
those
just
poor
I
saying,
horses.
don't
that's
want.
a thing that is widely available. Yeah. I was like, oh, no,
Mm-mm.
no, thank you.
Like, I got a horse.
So majestic or horsey.
Your horse will be side-eyeing you, Briar. Like,
He already
maybe
knows.
I should let them cook him. See how
That's
he
not an easy
finds
bill
it.
to pay. Watts, it already is side. How much did that glue factory actually give you?
Not much. I would not assume much.
Physics says, crew, how do you want Physics? You're on the list.
No, come on.
I'm gonna find these questions.
Best way to buy. Yeah, we gotta look up. Get him back in there, Watts.
Zombie with a Life says, so now that we can combine all of our subclasses into one, what do you think the best combination will be to perfectly sear? Listen, y'all.
It's summertime. We're all thinking about it. Let's
Everyone's
just
got barbecue on the brain.
Briar barbecue to be specific. Man, but I'm thinking about Briar Vindaloo now. Briar Masala.
Yeah,
We've kind of gone down a new just Briar curry.
just open
path.
it up. It's kind of like in the theme of Prismatic. Let's just open up all the doors and see what else we can do with this.
I feel like there's so many.
Y'all
good
better behave
opportunities
yourself,
for
or I'm
them.
going to end this podcast right now.
It is making me hungry. I mean, it's making me very hungry.
Rico Lopez says, will the new subclass be locked to the Traveler location?
No.
I don't think so.
Because in the insight they said somewhere about like bringing it to all the activities you play. So
There you go.
Yeah. That would be insane if it was like it's a full-on new subclass you can use everywhere.
Charles B. Davis says the storage room with all the seasonal event kit is honestly one of the coolest touches I've seen in this game to date. Is Tefty in here?
He might be. He's if you go down the hall and then you go through the closet and then you crouch and go through that hole, he's in there. Yeah. He's
giving out Teft. He actually has a little like Teft lecture classroom back there.
That's right.
Underground. Yeah. It's a mix of storage, audio gear, and like whiteboards for lecturing what you're doing.
You never know what you're going to get lectured on, but you're going to get lectured.
Yeah.
You remember the Lost Sector on the Tangled Shore where you go in and it's like the Fallen nightclub and there's the DJ?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That was Tefty, but we sunset Tangled Shore, so just can't see him anymore. But in my headcanon, he's still there mixing it up.
He's mixing Paul McCartney like no one's business.
Anybody misses Tefty, you got to check out the Tefty and Memes channel where they're making music over there, and it's awesome. It's actually a lot of fun.
It's really nice to check in on them and see how they're doing.
Yeah,
and they do make really good stuff.
They do make good music, and sometimes he'll like play the song and then kind of show you how he made it. Which is kind of neat too.
Very cool.
You mean like a little lecture?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Just like that.
Animalistic says, "Hey DCP crew, after the new Final Shape reveal, how are you guys feeling? What are the vibes?" I'm excited. I mean, I'm pretty excited.
Vibes are up.
Yeah.
Remain excited as always.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty confident in the Final Shape just from like knowing the people who are heavily involved with what's going on in the Final Shape. Kat is one of them. She loves Destiny. She is crazy about Destiny, super passionate about Destiny. So I was very confident that, especially with the delay, that they would be able to put in a bunch of stuff to make Final Shape really good. So yeah, I had faith in it, and that we're getting a new subclass and seeing the new race as well was really cool. So yeah. And the space looks great. Like being you saw them in the old tower space in the Pale Heart, and we know that they're showing you stuff that like you cared about.
I will say the aesthetic really felt to me like coming home to that D1 launch aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. I feel like all those spaces that they showed off inside the Traveler kind of were evocative of those initial impressions and feelings I got about Destiny 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Joe Griffin says, every culture has its version of fried dough with filling. Empanadas, samosas, dumplings. What's your favorite? Samosas for me.
Ooh,
I love good dim sum.
Yeah.
And sauce, yeah.
You can fry just about anything. It's delicious, honestly.
But I will tell you this. If it doesn't have to be savory, freaking I am a donut fiend.
Yeah, I like donuts too.
My wife was out of town for a week, and she meal prepped for me, which was awesome. She took great care of me. So I had like recipes, I had things in the freezer, meals that she had made me and frozen individually. So great. I had one cheat day. Don't tell her, because don't know. I bought a dozen donuts and I ate them for lunch.
You know what's really funny?
A dozen donuts?
A huge cheat.
This is oh my god. So I saw a video earlier today, which someone who's not married, they're like, why is marriage so hard? Explain it to me. And this guy was like, it's hard because you have to figure out what you're going to eat every day, both of you, for multiple meals, every day, forever. And then the whole comments are just people talking about, yeah, when we're separated, it's like, what did you eat? And you're like, I just ate mozzarella sticks and cheese and some crackers. And they're like, I ordered like 12 people's worth of food and ate it all by myself. And I'm like, yep, that's what happens when you're away from the spouse. You're like, I'm going to go crazy.
It's good that it keeps you in check, apparently. It's sounding concerning if you did not have a spouse.
You know, I don't know if it's my favorite tasting, but my favorite to have is every once in a while, my wife will make fried dough at home. and she puts the powdered sugar on it. And it
Mm.
always ends up with the four of us standing around the counter, laughing at each other as we blow this
Yeah.
fucking fine powdered dust all over the place because we're like having these laughing fits of just like, because once somebody like kind of snorts out of their nose and like blows it, then it just like it just like travels around the room and we all start doing it and there's just powdered dust everywhere and it's always a good
That
time.
sounds lovely.
Sounds like a euphemism
wholesome.
for a Coke party. Is what it sounds like.
Me and the kids, it was great.
Yeah. Nothing like the kids.
I don't know what he does over
party.
there.
Zachary Richard says, have asked a Destiny question in a minute. What are you most excited about on the build potential in final shape? Me, I'm an easy guy. 3 Stasis Titan melees with Sonos and the Arc Dash with a Stasis wall grenade. Get those Guardians and Bubbles and Rifts out here. I don't know what it's going to be personally, but I'm probably going to be watching Lego and TV's YouTube channels, and they'll tell me which one it is.
Please do. Channel's dying. Vibes are down. Show up. Yeah.
I'm excited to do like just a bunch of movement stuff with Hunter. So blink, grapple, the ascension aspect where you do a little spinny in the sky. I'm excited to see what you could do with like grapple into combination blow even.
Did I see you could get Syntheseps as an exotic too now on Hunter?
That was yeah. So that's the other thing about the exotic class item stuff is that it's not just limited to your class for the perk that you get. So it's going to be the exotic class item is going to be crazy.
Is the exotic class item like a drop or is that a build out somehow? Like, does it drop with 2 specific perks on it, or is there a way to like put any perks you want on it? Like, how's that work?
I think you're farming for drops.
You're farming for drops, so you got to get it.
Yep.
If you want 2 specific drops, you just got to get those 2 specific drops.
I believe so.
Interesting.
That's gonna be the grind right there.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the grind. Yeah.
For me, I think fire and ice is the most exciting thing as a warlock. You know, being a caster, the idea of throwing down a bleak watcher and then having the Helion mortar fire cannon thing. That just sounds super cool to me. Just like I'm just gonna be standing here and blowing a bunch of crap up, slowing, freezing, fire, all of it. You know, just sort of automatically going off. That's kind of a cool thing. If you're like a caster in RPGs, you like to play caster or a summoner. You like summoner classes, which I do. That has me excited.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm like such a heavy Void Hunter player, just because of Invis and Stylus Executioner, and it'd just be nice to pair that with other stuff. So like I know that's my starting point is probably to keep Stylus Executioner, but being like, I don't use enough of the other stuff because I just enjoy Void so much. And it is, frankly, it's a nice safety a lot of the time to be dipping in and out of Invis and all that.
Threaded Spike with Stylus Executioner could be quite fun. That's the Strand Hunter melee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fun.
I was actually thinking about that, very similar to that. Is I always have really loved the Withering Blade, the little shurikens from Stasis, but I never use them because I never play Stasis. So to be able to bring that back, they ricochet between enemies while I'm keeping some of that Void stuff. That's probably going to be the first thing I do, and then go from there. But it is, when you look at the table, like I think Watts was saying, make sure to look at the table. Yeah, take a moment because it definitely gets you a little more excited. Where you're like, oh yeah. Like I want some of this arc stuff in there. Now I can do it, but I get to keep my favorite part of it.
Yeah.
Big Game Express says, hi DCP crew. I'm super excited for the final shape. The reveal vid doc went above and beyond. I'd love to see behind the scenes. The difference in showcase from last August to now is vast. Did Bungie create Prismatic in 3 months? Plus new enemies? It seems like a lot.
There's no shot.
There's no way, yeah.
No shot.
That's
too
much.
They previewed what's to come in Destiny for a long time in August, to be fair. It's rarely like these are all the details, right? So I'm not surprised, to finally be seeing it in detail. And we've talked about a lot. Like they do have a very specific marketing calendar. Like, all right, we're 60 days out basically. So the train is rolling, and I can't wait to see. There's a lot more, like they said in their own words.
I'm really
wouldn't be
excited reading these
surprised.
Twitter questions because if you were reading these Twitter questions 6 months ago, you get a totally fucking different vibe. I'll tell you what.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
I'm just excited that the community seems so enthusiastic. Like this looks like
Well,
everybody's really
Right.
looking forward to this. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and hopefully, like we're all gonna have fun together.
just on
Predictable.
Steam alone, the 24-hour peak went up. It doubled just on
Oh, I didn't
Steam.
even look.
Yeah, just on Steam, the player count doubled with Into the Light and the Final Shape coming out. So yeah, that's incredible. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the new enemies were created in the delayed period, because we knew of two of them, which was the Strand and Stasis, like Rolk looking guys. And then two of the others are fancy scions. Like they use the scion skeleton, I guess you could say, and then they just added abilities on them. So it's only really the bat and the husk, the husk guy, who were like new that we hadn't seen anything about. And I bet Holtz could have made the husk guy in 3 months.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, I really think they've been working on that stuff for a long time.
I think Holt's in
I
like a
also
week and a
would-
half. He's just been slacking off for the rest of the 2.5 months.
Well, ask your husband, Watts. Didn't Tomo didn't he work on combatants back in the day?
He did. Yep.
I
I'm
feel like
sure
he'd
he'll
have
give
a.
her an answer.
I feel like
to
he'd have a
publish.
good understanding about how long it would take to
Yeah, get him
take
on
a
the show.
combatant from an idea to implemented. Yeah.
I also wouldn't be surprised if like some of the ideas behind these guys had been at least concepted before, because there's so
Sure.
much in a like a concept phase where you're putting ideas down. So yeah, I don't know. We'll never know. We don't know, has Bungie been crunching to get stuff for Final Shape? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I have no idea. All I would say is that remember that in game development, Final Shape has been in development for years. There's a lot of people out there
Yeah,
who forget
yep.
and think, oh, well, they started working on it after they wrapped up Lightfall. It's like, no.
No.
Like they do a lot of hopscotching, teams, hopscotching between each other. It's been no doubt years. Plus the 4 month, how many month delay? 4 month delay. So yeah, plus the 4 month
Yeah.
delay. So I mean, you normally also need the quality time, right? So if anything, you
Yeah.
gotta account for they need more quality time. They probably added in there, especially balancing this stuff. So like I only see like a couple months of when you think about the delay, it's not like a massive change. So kind of doesn't matter as long as it's good in the end. If anything, I focus on that last part, which is the quality focus, and that they gave themselves more time to make sure when it gets out the door, which normally you're so pressured. Plus they had the layoffs and all this stuff, and they needed just enough time to make sure that they did not botch launch with bugs, and it remains to be
Yeah.
seen. But so
Well, they
it's
needed
more
it
likely
to
that.
be the best expansion ever. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it was hitting that for some people that were working closely on it, and they were like, we got to make sure this is the best.
Yeah,
and that's the expectation they laid down too. So that if they
Yeah.
didn't deliver on that, like that's where the community was going to hold them to. That's the standard we were going to hold them to because they said that early on, like we want this to be better than Forsaken and better than the Taken Kings. Like, ooh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think to be fair, they definitely, I'm sure, as always, you have a couple things on the list that just don't make it, and that gave them time to pop some other things in there, and I wonder what those were. But I doubt it was new enemy types, but who knows? I've never designed one.
Maybe narrative
Two of them
stuff.
ain't even new. Two of them are decoys, not actually new. Freaking scions and fancy hats. Those scions are at it again. So many different scions.
Just drop those Scion capes from Destiny 1.
Oh, I know. Scions have gone through a lot of iterations. So like
Yeah.
in D1, they had their little line attack that was awful if you were playing the arc where they did more damage on arc nightfalls, because that line attack would just one shot.
One hit, yeah.
Ugh. And then you got the boopers, D2 boopers.
Mm-mm. Kier Denon says, simple question. Destiny 3, possible code name Payback. Yes, no. Expansion after 3 episodes, or just eat Briar at this point?
Yes, got him. Because we covered the question in the show already. I think.
Yeah,
I'll remember
just eat
this,
Briar.
Kier.
It's
This won't be
Cook 'em
forgotten.
up. It's gonna be a curry. I've changed my thinking.
Yeah, we want a curry now.
Wispipedia says,
I understand why people talk about the leak, just because the guy who was talking about Prism, there's a new subclass called Prism, and now we're like, oh, it's Prismatic, and it's the same person talking about it. So, yeah. But I don't know. Who knows? We have no idea. It's all a mystery.
Wispipedia says, what do you think the subclass energies would taste like? I think Prismatic subclass would taste like a tie-dye fruit roll-up.
Ooh. Like
Oh,
the
man.
rainbow, like the really sugary rainbow strips. Oh, I love those. That's
Rainbow
Or like
strips. What's
the
that?
powder at the bottom of a Fruit Loops box of Fruit Loops.
Oh, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it tastes like right there.
So wait, the question was
What?
only about Prismatic or all subclass?
All subclasses, I think most of them are
Okay.
pretty self-explanatory. Like Void tastes like grape.
Void
right?
is plum. Great.
Plum.
Nah.
Plum.
Plum.
Yeah.
It's great.
What are your favorite prune flavored candy, TV? What's going on
Oh,
over there, buddy?
okay. You
No
don't
wonder
like
why he's
plum?
binging
Who
a
doesn't
box of
like
donuts.
plums?
This guy's on a diet of prunes and
Blackberry
whiskey. apparently.
cobbler.
Fucking-
Void is blackberry
Look.
cobbler.
Look, it's not easy to pass 12 donuts. You know what I'm saying?
I had
mean,
no
fiber in
problem.
there.
No problem.
That's why we get that suppository.
No, that's a one-way street, my man.
Yeah.
Solar is what? Orange?
Come on, you guys are so uninventive here.
Cinnamon.
I do like
Cinnamon.
cinnamon because it's,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
spicy.
spicy.
Tikka masala.
And I don't know.
Someone says
Stasis.
Strand is Mountain Dew. That's a pretty good read.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it.
Like Baja Blast.
Yeah, can they all be
Yeah.
Mountain Dew flavored?
Yeah, Code Red is Prismatic.
You want to hear something concerning? Now that we're in a
Yes.
safe space, right?
Right,
You know what
sure.
Jay Sniperton's
we?
favorite Easter candy is?
Oh no.
Is it Peeps?
I
It
don't
is
trust a man
Peeps.
that
It is
It's
Peeps.
Peeps.
That doesn't surprise. That seems pretty up his alley.
I was gonna say I don't trust a man who eats so many of those
Nasty
stupid-
jelly beans.
Those
Yes.
beans, yeah, dude.
No.
I think that's the closest to death I've been in
Yeah.
10 years.
True.
Disgusting.
I forgot we haven't forgiven him for
Same.
that.
No, we haven't. It was terrible.
That's right.
Really
So
bad.
much worse than I ever
If I ever see him in person at a con or something, I'm just gonna remind him like, you owe me a nice dinner.
Yeah.
Like I already got us seats at a steakhouse and you are buying tonight.
Real pain. Real pain.
It was. I thought I was gonna puke several times.
Yeah.
Which one was the worst?
Revolting.
It was the Band-Aid one, right?
The Band-Aid is
Yeah, the
real
For
Band-Aid.
me,
bad.
I think it was the
Oh, it was
egg
awful.
one.
The egg one was bad
like,
too.
Bad.
God,
Dirty
they were all
Band-Aid
bad.
though. Just the
Yeah.
description didn't help either. Like
No.
it's
It tasted exactly
you-
what you would imagine a dirty Band-Aid would taste like.
it's
Oh, yeah.
nasty. And it's so weird because like that it's not like rotting flesh, blood, and like germs and like it, but it sure tastes like it. And you can't override that.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot of strength in your mind to get over something like that,
Yeah.
or just whatever Jay is, which I don't know how he's eating all those.
all the time.
I think the man
Nasty.
took like a nail file to his taste buds years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly. Just been mainlining Peeps just to erase all his
Sour Patch Kids just strips it all off.
Strip it off. The variant says, what's y'all favorite kind of cookie? I'm a big fan of the oatmeal raisin myself.
I was gonna say oatmeal scotchies, like
Oatmeal
oatmeal with
raisins
the
are very
butterscotch
good.
chips
Those
in
are
it.
good. Yeah, I like those.
Oh, that's a tough. I mean, I went to both the Girl Scout cookies, but Oreos, frankly, I just love Oreos. Like, I know it's not like a traditional because if you get like a nice cookie, yeah, it's a very different discussion. But
Destin's cookies. They're pretty
Yeah.
good. He makes good cookies.
Really?
actually, you know what?
Yeah.
I like
Who's
we ordered
Destin? Never
like
heard
a
of him.
batch from Destin. Good cookies. You
I
warm them
d-
up a little bit. Ooh.
I do like a white chocolate chunk kind of cookie, like a what
Oh,
I mean?
sure,
Like those
yeah.
big
Oh,
With some
yeah.
orange
macadamia
chunks.
nuts in.
Oh
Oh,
yes,
those are
Yeah.
great.
that's it. Those two things together.
Yeah, those are great.
I also like, you said oatmeal raisins, but have you ever had oatmeal with the cranberry raisins, like the dried
Yeah,
cranberries? Instead of
craisins.
oh, come on, man.
Yeah, those
I
are
was
great.
worried
So
that he was
good.
gonna say prune cookies or something.
Listen, you and me, monkey
That's a
bars
big
after
fucking
school.
cookie.
Okay.
With prunes in it.
With a prune in it. So,
Prunies.
golly, dude.
My wife was down in the basement the other
My
day,
wife.
and she found Girl Scout cookies that she
Oh.
suspects are 10 years old.
How'd they hold up? I know you ate them.
No, I didn't. She tried one though, and
Oh.
she almost put them right back on the floor. Like it
Oh,
was like
yeah.
immediate. Like
They
why
will
would
get
you
moldy.
even?
I don't know why you'd even try it.
Yeah.
Curiosity.
You will like this. I at IGN was sent like Mario Party 3 cookies. Now, bear in
Oh.
mind when that was. I mean, it's
Mario Party
must have
3
been like
GameCube
2002 or something.
Was it N64?
GameCube.
GameCube?
Could have been the end of it. It was like 2002, but I kept them like as like just like you know, like you go plushie, and you know I have like a Zelda mail opener. I had all that stuff on my desk, but I kept the cookies that I knew was a bad idea, right? But I just kept them, and then they went in a box. But anyway, once I left IGN, I gave them to Brian Altano. Yeah, he did the same. He's crazy. They must have been 15 years old, and we had this show called Up at Noon, and I think he cracked them. Oh yeah. He tried to eat it. He was like, "This is disgusting." Oh, I also had like an old Sonic energy drink that I
Like
gave
Sonic
him.
We
the
from-
do
Hedgehog?
actually.
That held up.
Yeah.
We do have whatever the first collab was with Destiny 1 and some drink. I can't even remember what drink it was.
Oh,
But
was
we
it
have-
Red Bull?
Do.
It might have been Red Bull.
Oh, it
yeah.
was, yeah, because of that event that we did where you
Yeah.
got the light beacons. They
Pope Bear bought like I don't know cases of it.
Sounds
He was
like
giving
it.
out
We
codes
still
on the
have a
podcast.
can in our bedroom. It's just it's there.
I still
Red
have a
Bulls are
box
fine.
of the Destiny 2 launch Pop-Tarts collaboration because they sent me
Yep.
like this care package with the Pop-Tarts with the Destiny 2 branding on it. I still have it.
It's
We'll
got your
get one.
name on it. You got to keep
It
it.
has my name on the Pop-Tarts box. I was like,
you shouldn't do that. You're eating some very
You
old
definitely should
mold,
go get
a lot
one
of
right
this.
now.
I'm not eating them. Let's be clear about it.
Copy what
Speaking of
Colin
eating.
says. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Speaking of eating, make me hungry.
Oh, time to go. Can we do?
Well,
Let's do
it's-
3 more. How's that sound?
3.
Two.
That's tasty.
2 more.
It's gonna be 20 minutes.
All right. Copy what Colin says. The Dreads say they will leave the Pale Heart for good under one condition. They want it set with the editor said. Have you guys cooked up any crazy combinations for the new subclass and exotic class item yet?
We talked about that basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did talk about that.
All right, that was easy. 20 seconds.
That way, nailed it, dude.
Yes.
Some guy Lego Flash
Oh, flash
Sounds
on.
hot.
Strand brought so much fun with high action per minute focus. Do y'all think the new Prismatic subclass can take it a step further?
Yeah. If I'm doing the whole blink, grapple, ascension, spin, and dropping on the floor, twirling around stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that does sound
It's a
fun.
lot of-
Do the
Yeah,
a lot
but
of
then
twirl around.
you're gonna do all of that, and then you're gonna be like, "Cool, now I'm gonna wait a minute and a half, and I'll be able to do it
Cool it
again."
down.
You're not wrong. But maybe I can get double grapple, double dodge.
And craft a wellspring weapon of some kind just to give yourself ability cooldown.
Yep.
All right, that's
We
gonna do
did
it
it.
for this episode, guys. Thank you all so much
did it.
for hanging out with us. What are we doing? I think I'll post this on Patreon tonight, and then we'll put it up on everything else at the regular time on Friday morning. Does that sound right? What are we doing?
It's up to you, boss man.
Yeah, I guess that's
Is that
what we're doing.
normally how it's done? I actually am not totally in tune with that.
Yeah. We
That's
usually
not
post it
my-
on Friday morning,
Oh, there you go.
but I'll post the
Go
Patreon
support on Patreon.
like right away.
There you go.
Further incentive to
sounds
be
good.
a Patreon supporter. Look at that. Look what
I
you
see.
get.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but it's because it's Wednesday if you're just listening.
Yeah, it's a day
It's
But we
early.
recorded
Wednesday.
a day early because I was a pain and asked if we could move it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's no problem,
But hey.
honestly.
If you're a patron supporter, you get to hear Fran talk about whips, chains, leather
Oh,
tonight.
Tonight,
Hey, if there's a spike in subs there, I'll do it. But that wasn't planned.
Thursday commute gonna be a
Well,
little bit more sexier than you expect.
What if we did a Fran cosplaying rock for the
Ooh.
Patreon?
I mean,
I'm not
I'll-
tall enough for that.
I'll buy that Patreon.
Yeah, it's,
The only
it's that
friends.
Yeah.
gif of that lady. She's like, no.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. We'll be back next week. We also got a retro slot coming next Tuesday for you. Jay Sniper did convince me to buy some peeps. I'll be trying them on the air with him.
Oh.
And I'm sure I'm not going
Exciting.
to like him. I'm sure I'm going to even madder at him than I already am. Thank y'all. See you next week. Bye.
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 Bye.